Alrighty guys, we're into it. The first quarter has begun. So Zorko gets the free kick in the middle of the ground for holding the ball. Redmond didn't throw it back to in, so he was a little bit lucky not to give away 50. But Zorko drives it inside the forward 50. Draper gets back, drops the mark though. Heppel gives it back to him, turns it over now to McGluggage, off to Ashcroft. Ashcroft kicks towards the top of the goal square, 1-on-1, great mark. On the last line was Andy McGrath. And Essendon immediately go. Martin gives off the kick, nice kick, finds Perkins. See Archie Perkins at halfback. So he goes long down the wing. Andrews at the back, fists it down. Setterfield can't gather it. Rayner does nicely. Gives it to Neil. And couldn't pick it up. There's Starskovic and did drag it in. Redmond gets it out of there though. Gives the handball to Setterfield. He picks it up off the deck. And then kicks it down towards forward 50. Kadeen Coleman will get back first for Brisbane. Does nicely. Swills around on the left boot. Kicks it to the wing. Just gets to McGluggage and he takes the mark. It's a big game for both clubs tonight. Brisbane have done very well the past few weeks. And they've been very good at home this season. But Essendon have been able to stay with the big clubs this season as well. Great mark from Danaher from behind. Gets up and takes a beauty. Immediately wheels around on the left boot. Has heaps of space. Goes towards the pocket with an absolute mongrel punt. Goes over the top of Hipwood and rolls out of bounds. Great mark there from Danaher in the pocket there. So back in the ruck, Draper knocks it down. On the ground, Ashcroft and Hine fight for the football. Setterfield gets there, almost in the back there from Ashcroft. Eventually, Rayner gets to the football, gets out their hands nicely. Zorko, nice little magician's handball over the back to Neil. Neil goes towards goal and just bounces it out of bounds. So it'll be another stoppage inside the forward 50 here for Brisbane. It's a big crowd at the Gabba tonight. Expecting a big game between both clubs. McInerney probably knocked that one down. Bailey gets in there, can't drag it out. May have dove on it. Umpire circles. And it'll be re-ball up just inside the forward pocket here. So back in the ruck. McInerney can't get it. Draper does nicely take it out of the ruck. Just kicks it out on the boot. Not a very good kick though. Ill-directed. Now gets to Kadeen Coleman. A little kick inside. It's a good kick. Finds Lockie Neal. Not 15 play on. Gives over the handball to Zorko. Ashcroft tries to get a high one. Doesn't get the free kick. Coleman wheels around on the left boot, kicks towards the top of the goal square. Can't take the mark there, McInerney. Almost threw that out of there. There's Thatcher. Rolls towards the pocket and goes out of bounds. Who do you expect to be the most successful teams in the next 20 years? I think Melbourne, probably, or Collingwood. Both of them have good young lists at the moment, and I think even Brisbane to an extent, but they have to find a better way to move the ball defensively, honestly. So now Ashcroft in the pocket, drops the ball though, gives it back to McInerney. McInerney saps towards goal. He misses nearly everything. And it's out on the full, in fact. So Zerk Thatcher will get the free kick. I'd say Adelaide, Collingwood, Melbourne. Yeah, that's probably fair. Maybe Essendon. I think Essendon need to win a couple of finals before we can say they're going to be the most successful team in the next 20 years. They haven't won one in, a long time. So we'll have to see how that works out. But yeah, those teams I would expect will be up there. Dunkley gives off the handball to McCluggage. He drives it inside the forward 50. Not the best kick. Nick Martin picks it up, gives it to Zamerritt. Big game for him tonight. He goes long. Draper does very nicely. Takes the mark, gives it immediately to Stringer. Stringer doesn't have too many options. One kick inside the forward 50 to Langford, but it's poor. Yeah, it goes to Leicester. So Brisbane can cause on the counter. Goes inside. Great kick. Finds Zorko. Top and Woody. Great pressure. Just gets off the handball. Leicester just gets off the handball as well. The umpire pays it, holding the ball. Essendon play on. Archie Perkins rolls it towards goal, and Essendon have the first goal of Saturday night. Great pressure from Essendon. And really out of nothing, Brisbane have started off very well, but Essendon, first time they go forward, they get there first. And a great start for the Dons. See how the game's just started, guys. Carlton versus Western Bulldogs. There was one late change in both games. It was this one. D'Ambrosio came into the team for Alan Davey. But Davey's just the sub, so I think it was just a tactical change. But a great start, great pressure there from Tip and Woody. Put the pressure on Zorko, and then Leicester just didn't have any options to give it to. He dropped it, and Essendon played to the whistle. They kept on going, and Perkins picked up the football, dribbled it towards the goal, and nailed it. So a great start for the Bombers. Since the appointment of Brad Scott, they've got a new lease on life, the Bombers. Back in the ruck, but it's a poor bounce from the umpire, so they'll bring that one back. Who do you barrack for, Fidget? I think I've asked you that before, but I can't remember. Sorry. So back in the ruck now. McInerney knocks it down. Phillips can't get there. That's nice to get a little kick away. Now Setterfield drives it inside the forward 50 to a pack of players. Draper's one. Wiedemann's another. Gets fisted away from Andrews. Goes towards the forward pocket. Gets onto it nicely there. Berry, but tackled well from behind from Durham, and it'll roll out of bounds. Inside the forward 50 here for the Bombers. They've started well. Quite an important player, Sam Durham, in fact, playing very good as a wingman this year. Saw him down at Gather Round in Adelaide, and he was very good down in that game as well. So back in the ruck now. Can Melbourne lock it in? McInerney knocks it down, coming through. Menzies can't pick it up. Setterfield just sockers it off the ground. He can't do much with it. Andrews almost dropped it. Just gets out to Wilmot. Now the Brisbane can clear. But a good smother there from Stringer. Merritt can't get rid of it. Starskovich almost took him without the football. Then knocks it out. That was a throw against McInerney. Umpire was right there. Didn't pay it. Then a long kick out. Great mark out the back there. And Kane Baldwin takes the mark. So Kane Baldwin played as a forward last year when he's in the side for Essendon. But looks like he's playing back tonight. Goes inside the forward 50 to a pack of Brisbane players. Andrews out the back, fisted away. Dunkley, brilliant last week. Gets out the handball to Ashcroft and he kicks it away. Not the best kick though. It'll be turned over. Baldwin again does nicely. Phillips. Quick handball to Merritt. Back to Phillips. I don't know about the handballs to the ruckman. But eventually gets out to Hobbs. And now Essendon can get out wide through Hind. Hind has the football. Has a little bit of space. Kicks it inside to the forward pocket. Andrews will get back first. McInerney fists it down. Coming through, Stringer can't gather it. Now McCluggage gives it off to Coleman. And now Brisbane go out on the outer wing. Gunston keeps it in front of him. Zerk Thatcher does brilliantly. Redmond does as well, but Rayner, better quality, does nicely. Gives it off to Neal. Back to Rayner. He drives it inside the forward 50. Out the back goes Charlie Cameron. Has he up the pace over McGrath? He does, but he fumbles it and he rolls out. He's not happy with himself there, Charlie Cameron. Not much he could have done, but he just unfortunately fumbled at the wrong time. A little bit unlucky there, Charlie Cameron. He nearly got on the end of it. It's been very good the past month, Charlie, but just couldn't get onto that one there. Andy McGrath's got the job in tonight. It's a big job for him. Back in the ruck now. McInerney takes it out of there, just handballs it. Nearly to Caldwell. Gets it out nicely. Now from the pocket, McCarthy swings it, kicks it towards the top of the goal square. Coming through, Baldwin does nicely. He's been good early. And now cleared out of the defence there from McGrath. It's actually a good kick in the end. Martin will get onto this, and he has a lot of space to run into. Takes a bounce. He's going off here, Martin. Takes a second bounce. Comes inside. Kicks down towards the top of the 50. It's a great kick. Taken without the ball there, Menzies. Langford decides to play on. Kicks it towards the top of the 50. Great kick. Stringer drops to the mark. Picked up by Hobbs. Snaps towards goal. Draper in the goal square. Drops the mark. He keeps it in. Nice little tap on from Draper. Wiedemann falls over. Been hot in the kitchen early. Gives it off to Caldwell. Caldwell snaps and just misses. Great start. Just couldn't get the goal there, Caldwell. But Essendon have looked good early. Starskovich will take it from the defensive goal square. He goes out wide. Dunkley and Heppel. Heppel gets it out the back. Now Phillips back to Heppel. Merritt's there. Decides to go back even further to Hind. Hind just can't use his leg speed here, so he just goes into a short little kick. Not the best kick. Heppel thought it hit the ground. Oh, he got lucky there. He thought it probably played on. The umpire gave him a little bit of a reprieve. So now Merritt goes in short. Great kick. Finds Hobbs. He's important tonight with the loss of Parrish. He looks like he's going to play a little bit more midfield time, the young man. And he's built and bred midfielder, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes. He eventually kicks it to the top of the goal square now. Pack of players go up. Hits the ground somehow. Coleman misses it. Durham comes through. Gets tackled well by Leicester. And he's gone. Good pressure there from Brisbane. They get the free kick. So Ryan Leicester will get the free kick. Goes into the pocket. Nice little kick finds Darcy Wilmot. Played his first few games of his career in the finals last year. He goes in short, finds Ashcroft. So now Ashcroft in the defensive 50. He started off pretty well in this game, Will Ashcroft. Goes out wide to a one-on-one here. Gunston, in fact it's Dunkley, takes the mark. Was paid it. Nick Hine wasn't happy about it. But now Dunkley goes towards the wing. Great kick. Here's Gunston. He goes into the middle of the ground. It's actually a good kick. Finds Coleman. So now Brisbane have a huge amount of space to work into. Goes inside the forward 50. This is the play you want to have leading to. Just misses the kick on Cameron. Cameron gets tackled well. Should be pinned for that. The umpire gives him a little bit of luckiness, I would say, and just out of bounds. So just inside the forward 50 here for the Lions. Essendon have definitely started off this game the way they needed to. If they want to have that finals push this year, which they start off the season brilliantly, they have to be in these sort of games. Great tap down there from Phillips, but only as far as McCluggage, and he gets taken down just inside the forward 50 here for Brisbane. 0-0 in the other game right now, Carlton v Bulldogs. Phillips knocks it down, just kicks it out of there off the ground there from Sheila, goes up about 30 metres. Probably not that high, but free kick will go to Hobbs here. Got pushed out of the contest. He immediately plays on. Goes down towards the middle of the ground. It's a good kick. Up goes Stringer against Tootie. Well to bring it to ground. Harris Andrews can't get there. Wiedemann. Great tackle on Wiedemann there from Andrews. That should be gone. Somehow gets away with that. Merritt kicks the ball inside the forward 50. Leicester runs in and just taps it forward. Brisbane can work it forward now through Coleman. Hipwood. Now Leicester gets the football. Goes out wide. Finds McCluggage. Brisbane are on the move going inside the forward 50 with a great kick. And finds Joey Danaher. Great kick there from Hugh McCluggage coming inside the forward 50. And Joey Danaher against the former side has a chance to kick Brisbane's first. So Brisbane don't exactly need this, but they'd probably like to get one on the board just quickly here, just to keep Essendon a little bit, just put a little shock through them to say they're in this game here, Brisbane. So Joe Danaher pretty much directly in front, comes in, kicks the goal, and it's a great goal there for Joey Danaher. Great goal for the Lions. They're 1 straight 6, lead Essendon 1-1-7. I can never get them even, the scores, but anyway, doesn't matter now. So Bulldogs have their first goal of the game as well. So this game could be building up to the hype that I had throughout the week. Back in the ruck now. Phillips goes up early, but does get the win down. Setterfield leaves it behind. Bailey comes through, gets out the handball. Hobbs does nicely. He looks good early. Gives it off to Phillips. Phillips just dribbles it forward, but to no avail. And now Brisbane can work it outside. Berry goes out to Lockie Neal. Been a little bit quieter in this first part of the season. Goes inside the forward 50, and he hits a leading Heppel. So that was a poor kick there from Neal. And now Essendon can rebound. Heppel goes out wide. Poor kick, though. Hine has to go fish for it. Eventually gets onto it. Hipwood locks him into the pocket. Does nicely there. That's a 2-metre kick. Zerk Thatcher goes in short, and he finds Setterfield. So Essendon just need to settle it a little bit here. I think it's a pretty big game for Setterfield tonight as well. He's been pretty quiet the last few weeks. Had a brilliant start to his Essendon career. His first 2 games were brilliant. But the last at least 3 weeks, he's been pretty quiet. But now Essendon work it out wide. He finds Dyson Heppel. Thought maybe his career may have been coming to an end at the start of the season. He was playing as the sub, but I think he's just got a little bit lease on life now. Brad Scott's found his spot at half-back. So Setterfield works it out wide, finds Hind. Now Essendon can move it forward. Good kick. He finds Hobbs. He's been brilliant early. Ben Hobbs. He goes in short. Good find. Finds D'Ambrosio. So he's right on centre wing here on the broadcast side. Wheels around on the left boot and kicks it inside the forward 50 to a pack of players. Harris Andrews goes up. Probably should have marked it, but he fists it away. Coming through now is Sharp and almost took D'Ambrosio high, but it rolls out of bounds. It'll be a throw in. 9 minutes and 55 seconds to go on this first term. Been a good start. Been a blistering start despite the scoreboard. So back in the ruck now. Umpire whips it back into play. Draper knocks it down to really no one in particular. Neal comes through, does nicely. Taken well there by Setterfield, then drags it back in. Merritt gets out the handball. Dunkley, good tackle, but Hobbs again has the football, but Hobbs puts it into row 5 of the boundary. Poor play there from Ben Hobbs. But he started off pretty well. He's got about the 6 touches already in this game, Ben Hobbs. He's done nicely so far. Ben Hobbs currently has the 6 touches in the game. Leads all comers on the ground. Sorry. For Essendon. I think Kenny Coleman's got 7. So back in the play now. So Thatcher handballs it out, but it's poorly directed. Dunkley gets the football nicely. 1-on-1, Baldwin and Gunston. And Baldwin started off pretty well as well. They'll roll out of bounds. Just seems when some forwards come into the game, come from the VFL to the AFL level, they just can't find their spot. So sometimes the departments just move them back and see how they do, and some of them can just come onto it. Just done brilliantly. Think of Darcy Moore when he came through, went to back, and he's one of the best defenders in the game now. Lockie Neal dragged that in. He could be in trouble here. Good tackle there from Zach Merritt, and the umpires rewarded him holding the ball. Good play there from Essendon. Merritt immediately goes, gives it off to D'Ambrosio. He goes down the wing, a long kick to a 2-on-1 in Essendon's favour. Wiedemann just dropped the mark. That was a bit poor. Now Wilmot reels around on the right boot, kicks it out towards the wing. Great kick, and he finds Dunkley. Career best game, in my opinion, last week. Maybe not career, but it was definitely his best for Brisbane. Goes inside, finds Coleman. Coleman over the top. Tip and Woody comes in to put pressure on Rayner, but Rayner's hand's too strong, takes the mark. He wheels around on the left boot, goes into the pocket. Pretty poor kick. Gunston can't gather it. And Redmond comes through nicely, gets out the handball to Merritt. Merritt just has to jam it onto the boot, and Coleman's there again. He dropped, though. That was poor. Tip and Woody gets out the handball nicely to Phillips. And now Essendon are on the move through Caldwell. Caldwell goes to the top of the 52, a 1-on-1. It's Langford and Starskovic. Great mark. Great mark there for Starskovic, and he immediately goes. It's been a fast-paced game so far. Berry takes the mark, and for the first time tonight, they all take a breath. So Berry at halfback has the football. Has a little bit of time, goes long down the wing. It's to a 2-on-1 in Brisbane's favour. McCarthy takes the football, gives it to Hipwood. Now McCluggage goes inside. Not the best kick, just gets to Rayner. He does nicely to Berry. Nice little quick handball, gives it to McKenna against his old side as well. Goes into the forward pocket to a 1-on-1. Gunston just drops the mark, and it rolls out of bounds. So it'll be a stoppage just inside the forward 50 here for Brisbane. It was a poor kick to Langford inside the forward 50 though, but Starskovic did very nicely. You can't say too much against him there. So back in the ruck now inside the forward 50. Danaher up against Draper. No one gets the tap, hits the ground. Now Baldwin grabs the football and drives it out of the defensive 50. It's a long kick. Langford can't gather the football, gets out the back. Now Wilmot has some time, wheels around the left boot. It's a good kick, and he finds Berry. Good mark there from Berry. Has 7.5 minutes in this first quarter. But a good start from both sides. Berry now has time, drives it inside the forward 50 to a pack of players. Danaher goes up, gets out the back. No one can take the mark. First to get back there will be Zerk Thatcher, who just knocked through for a rush behind. Probably the right play there. Probably no need to put too much pressure on the team right there. So Mason Redmond will take the kick in here for Essendon. Plays on just to get that easy touch disposal. Kicks it out to Baldwin, who's had a brilliant start to this game. Wearing the old Cale Hooker 26. And maybe you can take that. Maybe he could be their swingman, as Cale Hooker was, especially late in his career. He goes long down the wing to a 1-on-1. Good kick, and he finds Perkins. So Archie Perkins has the football on the wing. He plays on and drives it down towards the forward 50 for Essendon. Pack of players. Up goes Wiedemann. Can't bring it down. Coming through there was Martin. He can't gather it. Berry gives it to Starskovic. He gets tackled well by Martin, but gets at the handball. Danaher worried out of it by Shield, but gets it down to Leicester. And now Brisbane can go. Wilmot off to Ashcroft, and he drives it down towards the forward 50 to a 1-on-1. But a great mark taken by Zerk Thatcher. He played on though. Zorko was up to it. And then Zerk Thatcher just had to kick it away. Brisbane calls the turnover. McCluggage goes to the top of the 50 with a great kick. Finds Rayner. He's taken some strong marks early in this game. So Cam Rayner takes the mark. 55 out with a man on the mark. He goes inside the forward 50 with a great kick to the pocket. He finds Hipwood. So not the best side for Eric Hipwood with his left foot. He's in the left forward pocket, so he's on the outside here, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's more the Buddy Franklin side for a left footer. I'd like to see if Eric Hipwood's up to the challenge. Been pretty good with set shots this year with 11 goals, 6. So here we go. Eric Hipwood comes in to kick Brisbane's second. Pretty hard, tough angle. Kicks towards goal. Hooks it a little bit to the right. Goes into the pocket. And he's actually hit the goal post. The point post, sorry. That's out of bounds on the fall. So 20 minutes into this game right now. Still only 1 goal to each side. And Andrew Phillips will get the free kick in the pocket here for Essendon. So Phillips now kicks it down to the wing, pack of players. One of them is Wilmot. He comes from the back and fists it down. Perkins can't pick it up. Sharp just sockets it inside the forward 50. Bailey he's just a little bit unclean there. A little bit sloppy there from Bailey. Fumbled it twice and it rolls out of bounds. Forward pocket here. So forward pocket now for Brisbane. Essendon started this quarter as a better team, but Brisbane definitely came back into it. Knocks it down there, McInerney. Ashcroft tackled well there from Shield. Gets a little boot to the ball. Nice little tap in there from Rayner. Gets it to Zorko. Gets tackled by Zerk Thatcher. And then Hobbs still hasn't taken it over the line. And eventually it's hit the post. So it's a throw in here. Hobbs tried to get a try and tried to get through for a rush behind, but it was actually a good pressure there from Brisbane to knock him into the into the point post. And it was out of bounds. So a throw in now in the forward pocket. Back in the ruck, Phillips thumps it away. Can't gather it there. Shield Neal does nicely. Gives it to Ashcroft. And now Sharp from the forward pocket. Sets it up to the top of the goal square. Baldwin comes in. It's a free kick that's been called. And it's going to go to Charlie Cameron, it looks like. Yeah, it looks like D'Ambrosio may have grabbed him by the arm there. Inside that contest. And he's given away the free kick to the dangerous Charlie Cameron. So as it happened, he came in. He wrapped his arms around Charlie Cameron. It was a bit of a weak decision, if I'm going to be honest, but they've been paying him this year, so they have to pay that one, I guess. But a chance now for Brisbane to kick their second. 4.5 minutes to go in this first term. Charlie Cameron comes in. Oh, and he's missed it! Charlie Cameron from 20 metres out on a very slight angle, if I'm going to give it that, and give him a little bit of a reprieve. That was a shocker, and he's missed it to the left. Shocking kick from Charlie Cameron. I was about to put it in the books before he even kicked it, but he's missed from 20 out. Now Essendon have the football. Redmond kicks it out at the defensive 50, and Stringer will get the free kick for pushing the back. Currently in the other game, Bulldogs lead 14-1 at the moment. Stringer goes down the wing to a one-on-one. Good spoil from behind from Coleman. He's been pretty good early. So currently disposal getters on the ground. Leading all comers is Caneen, Coleman and Will Ashcroft both with 9. McCluggage with 8. Rayner with 7. And Andrew Phillips leads it for Essendon with the 7 touches as well. Back in the ruck now. Draper knocks it down. Coming through was Stringer. Threw that out. Almost got a free kick paid against him. Shield does nicely to tackle. Stringer breaks out of there, but the umpire's already called a ball up. On the wing here, on the broadcast side here are Essendon. And the stoppage. In the ruck, Draper knocks it down. Does nicely. Gets to Shield. Shield drives it towards the top of the 50, but it's a great mark from Ryan Lester. He goes in short. Good kick. He finds Ashcroft. This will be for his 10th touch of the first quarter. He started off very nicely, Ashcroft. Good kick into Lester. Umpire calls play on, though. So he kicks it down the wing, and unopposed is McInerney. Takes the mark and almost took out Hobbs in the process. Gives off the handball to Zorko. Drives it inside the forward 50 with an absolute tumble punt. It may work, though. McCarthy gives off the handball to Hipwood. Hipwood, great smother there. Coming through. I think it was Phillips to block their handball, and it's out of bounds inside the forward pocket. Oh, it's a free kick against Brisbane for there. It looks like the ball was thrown away from the umpire. So Mason Redmond will get the free kick in the back pocket. And they go to the open side with a bit of space. Hobbs takes the mark. This will be for his 7th touch of the quarter. Goes out wide. Good kick finds Phillips. He's been very good this year. He's probably been one of those players who have just floated around the AFL in the VFL level and hasn't really found himself in many AFL sides until this year. The kick inside was poor though. Hebbel made it look okay, and then Hine turns it over. So now Brisbane have the football through Lockie Neal. He goes inside with a poor kick. Zerk Thatcher cuts it off. Now Nick Hind, to repay the favour, try and give back a little bit of getting the good fortunes of the coach, goes out wide, he finds Durham. Good kick in the end, and now Essendon can go, good kick. He finds Archie Perkins on the wing, and Perkins wheels around on the right boot, tries to take on Coleman and does him. And now goes inside, poor kick though. Got a little bit too excited, and now Sharp cuts it off. So now Brisbane on the counter. Gives it back to Coleman. Coleman goes inside, good kick, he finds Zorko. Zorko goes out wide, he finds Danaher, and now Brisbane can go inside the forward 50. Danaher's got a lot of space here, he could just wheel around on the left boot and go for home. He's for about 55 minutes out from home. Danaher goes and thumps it home! Joey Danaher thumps a beauty! What a goal there for the Lions, they take a 7-point lead. Had all the time in the world there, Joey Danaher, and he just drove it home from about 55 metres. It was pretty poor defence from Essendon, if I'm being honest. But a good goal there for the Lions. And with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter, they take a 7-point lead. Brilliant kick from Joe Danaher. But it was just a little bit unfortunate there from Archie Perkins. He did all the good work to get past Coleman, but then his kick inside the forward 50 was just so... They got smothered. And to be honest, he needed to kick it higher. But then just turned it over, and then Brisbane go down the other end and kick a pretty easy goal in the end, all things considered. So back in the ruck now, in the middle of the ground. Phillips knocks it down nicely. Shield jams it on the right boot, opposite side for him, and drives it towards the forward 50. It rolls out towards the pocket. Archie Perkins comes through, and Coleman puts on enough pressure to knock it out of bounds. So just outside the forward 50 here. Coleman started brilliantly for Brisbane. Probably been their best player with Ashcroft. And Brad Scott just talking to his other coaches, trying to find a little bit of solution so far. So they're very good early, but they've been caught back by the very good Brisbane Lions. Back in the ruck now, McInerney thumps it down, goes through all the way to Merritt, and Merritt from the pocket kicks towards goal, and he's just missed it to the right-hand side for a behind. Bit of a chance there for Zach Merritt, but just couldn't get it online. Probably one thing in this game that he could add to it, Zach Merritt, is some goal kicking. But now Starskiewicz in the defensive goal. Square goes in short, finds Harris Andrews. Probably been taking a step back this season because Jackson Payne has been brilliant in the back half for them this year. Goes long down the wing. Zerk Thatcher just lets it out through the back and it goes out of bounds. So just a minute and a half to this first quarter. Brisbane lead it by 6 points. Ashcroft and Kadeem Colton probably being the best players on the ground so far in this one. Very good starts for both of them, both with the 10 touches. Ben Hobbs, surprisingly, has the 7 touches. Looks like he's going to get a little more midfield time tonight with the injury to Darcy Parish throughout the week. So back in the ruck now, Ashcroft gets it out of there, only as far as Setterfield. Back to Durham, and now Shield has some time, goes back to D'Ambrosio. He goes down towards the forward flank, up goes Stringer, does nicely. Immediately wheels around on the right boot, great kick. And he finds Sam Wiedemann in the pocket. Good play there from Stringer. Immediately went, just knew that he would have a teammate out, and it was Sam Wiedemann in the pocket. I'm very surprised that Sam Wiedemann took so long to decide to leave Melbourne. He's always been a talent, but just didn't have enough of a consistent run at Melbourne to keep his spot. Eventually moved to Essendon this year, and he's been very good. So a chance now for Wiedemann with just under a minute to go in this first quarter to kick Brisbane back to level. He kicks towards goal, it fades out to the right, and it goes through for a point. So another point. Down by 5 points at the moment, the Bombers. So Coleman goes in short. Good kick, he finds Payne. Brilliant last week, Jackson Payne. Goes down towards the wing now to a pack of players. Phillips is one. Up he goes with McInerney. Goes to ground though. McInerney stays on the ground though. Meanwhile, Merritt gives it off to Stringer inside the forward 50 with a poor kick. And McKenna, former Bomber, cuts it off. So Connor McKenna goes back out wide. Goes over the top of Danaher and rolls out of bounds. But McInerney was on the ground there. It looks like the physio's gone out to him. I think he's okay. It may have just been a little bit of a knock. But it looks like for now he's okay. 5 seconds to go in this first quarter. So it looks like this will be the scoreline for quarter time. Back in the ruck now. Draper comes in against McInerney. McInerney knocks it down to Merritt. Merritt can't gather it. Gets a free kick though. But he's too far out to do anything with it. So that will be the quarter time scores. At quarter time, Brisbane lead 2-2-14 to Essendon 1-3-9. Great start to this game. Despite the scoreline, it's actually been a quick game of footy. Alright, I'll just bring up statistics now. Oh, it's not quarter 12, Dylan. Alright, let me bring up the scores. We're all in this together. Yeah, guys, we're all in this together. Guys, we're all in this together. Fuck, I hate this advert. Guys, we are all in this together. Fuck off, it's Google Chrome, no one cares. Alright, there we go, guys. So, quarter time. Leading disposal getters on the ground is Will Ashcroft with 11, Coleman with 10, Merritt with 9, Phillips with 8, and Lockie Neal with 8 as well, leading out the top disposal getters. And then the top 5 fantasy scorers out there, we have Ashcroft with 42. He's a brilliant start. Andrew Phillips with the 35, Coleman with the 32, Danaher with the 31. And then rounding out the top 5 is Dane Zorko with the 30. Oh my god. My hair keeps on sticking up. Not the hair, bro. A good start to this game. Let me just have a look at the other game quickly. Carlton v Bulldogs. Bulldogs currently lead 2 goals to 2. Good on you, Dylan. We are all in this together. We are all in this together. We are all in this together. Then a few weeks, and then it took 3 freaking years, cause these fucking adverts suck. Second quarter's about to start right now. For a quarter time in the other game, Bulldogs lead 2-2-14 to Carlton 3 behinds. So that's the first quarter of that game. Second quarter's about to start right now. Payne has gone to the top ruckman, to the forward ruck at the moment, which is Phillips. So back in the ruck now. Second quarter is about to get underway. Brisbane lead it by 5 points at quarter time. So the umpire thumbs it down now. Back in the ruck, Draper comes through, can't bring it with him though. Then eventually McInerney knocks it away from Draper. Coming through, Shield does nicely. Taken without it, there was Merritt, and he'll get the free kick. Essendon take the advantage though, and now Shield drives it inside the forward 50 with a poor kick. And it's a great mark from the back there from Andrews. Honestly, Brisbane's Essendon going inside the forward 50 has been pretty poor in this game so far. Short kick to Zorko. He's been brilliant in this game so far. He goes in short to Neil. For some reason, Neil called a play on, even though that kick was basically the same distance that Zorko got his mark from. So eventually he goes out wide and McKenna takes the mark. So McKenna obviously left Essendon to go back home to Ireland. And then he wanted to come back and play footy, and Brisbane picked him up this year. He goes into Wilmot. Wilmot goes out wide to Andrews, and he gets the mark. He's started off pretty well, Harris Andrews. Goes out wide. Good kick. Brisbane's movement is nice here. Dunkley has the football. He goes in short. Good kick to Gunston. Gunston with Heppel on his hammer. Can't take the mark, but Gunston wheels around on the right boot with a nice kick inside the forward 50. And Zach Merritt cuts it off. Goes in short to Heppel. Essendon done pretty well in defence so far. Baldwin's done brilliantly in his first game back for the year. Who playing in defence now. Goes out wide. He finds Dylan Shield. And now Shield goes down the wing with an absolute floater. But eventually he just gets to Hobbs. Hobbs had a good start to this game of footy. This is his ninth touch of the game so far, Hobbs. He goes with a long kick towards the 50. Phillips in a 2-on-1. Can't do much with that. And Payne cuts it off. Jack Payne does nicely. He kicks it in short to Dunkley. Dunkley, good play. Gives off the handball immediately. And Sharp gives the handball out wide to Neil. On the bounce, he does get the football with a kick inside. It's a bit of a mongrel, but it gets to Zorko. And now back to Dunkley, and Dunkley goes out wide. It's not the best movement here from Brisbane, but it does work. Sharp gives it off to Hipwood. He's got an option inside the pocket, but eventually wheels it back to the top of the goal square with Danaher. Can't take the mark. Baldwin has time. Not that much time. Just gets rid of the kick. There's a poor one to Zirk Thatcher. Zirk Thatcher did nicely to get it, and then Hipwood with a great tackle and drags him down. And the umpire, a little bit lucky there against Zirk Thatcher, but it's just a ball up. He ripped the shirt almost off of Zirk Thatcher to Hipwood. It's ripped apart. He might have to come off here. His number doesn't show, and the umpires, you don't like that. So now Bailey drives his head forward to try and get a high free kick. He doesn't get it. And it'll be a ball up. They're just a ball up inside the forward 50 here for Brisbane. Essendon trying to hold on at the moment. Knocks it down there. Draper only as far as Dunkley, who just goes straight to ground. Now Baldwin comes through. Can't do much with it. Merritt just handles it to the face of Draper. Merritt gets the kick out eventually. Touched off the hands of Shield. Goes to Stringer. He kicks it out wide. Tip and Woody push Starskovich out of that. That'll be a free kick. So Starskovich will get the free kick. Tip and Woody a little bit not unlucky. He just tripped over his own feet there. And just knocked over Starskovich. So Starskovich goes in short. He finds Zorko. He started off well in this game, and he missed the 1 week with a hamstring. And eventually came back, and eventually now he goes inside the forward 50. Hipwood and Danaher uncontested. And they just protect Danaher to take an easy mark. And Joe Danaher started this game brilliantly. Good mark there from Big Joe. And a chance now to kick Brisbane out by 11 points and kick his second goal of the game. His first goal was a very nice one, and this is a chance to give Brisbane a good lead. Kick an early goal in this second term. So he's kicked 2 in this game so far, Danaher, sorry. This is for his third. He comes in and he's came off the right off the left foot on the side of it. He's lucky to score, if I'm being honest. So So Redmond goes in short and he finds McGrath. McGrath goes out wide towards the broadcast wing to a long kick, and Starskovic cuts it. Oh, he didn't mark that. No, that wasn't a mark. I think the umpire blew the whistle a little bit prematurely there, but eventually given the ball, and now Starskovic drives it inside the forward 50 to a pack of players. McInerney all on his own. Umpire's called a free kick, and it's going to Eric Hipwood. So another free kick for a hold. Baldwin's given away this one, unfortunately for him, but Hipwood will have a chance now to kick his first. So Baldwin's looking at the screen a little bit here. He wants to look at this again. He's not happy. I'd like to see this replay as well, because a lot of these are just very ticky touch. So Essendon's defence is a little bit under pressure at the moment, obviously with Ridley out of this team tonight, with a concussion against Port Adelaide last week. But now Hipwood to kick his first and kick Brisbane's third. First goal of the second quarter. Hipwood comes in. Left forward pocket. Kicks towards goal, and he's left it out to the left. So Brisbane, a couple of opportunities early in this quarter. So down in the bottom of the screen, he wrapped his hands around Hipwood. It's there. It's a free kick. That's not a very good effort there from Baldwin. I don't even know why he's arguing that. That's not a good play at all. He just grabbed a hold of Hipwood, and that's why he's going to be paid. So Zerk Thatcher, with the jumper almost off his back, he's ripped off of him. I'm surprised the umpires actually aren't calling him to come off the ground, to be honest. He goes long down towards the wing. Andrews can't gather it. Now Essendon can go. Hobbs gives it off to Shealy. Drives it inside the forward 50 at the back of Langford. But McInerney cuts it off. The Big O takes the mark in the back 50 here for Brisbane. Has some space. Goes long down the outer wing to a pack of players. Up goes Heppel. Can't bring it down, though. Good tackle on the ground there on McCluggage. And now Essendon have some ball. Shield off to Heppel. Back to Caldwell. And now Essendon want to switch the play into the middle of the ground. Good kick. He finds Nick Hind. If he gathers it, he's away. He's got Charlie Cameron bearing down. Eventually gets the handball off to McGrath. Back to Hind. Back to McGrath. Essendon are playing around a little bit here, but eventually they get Hind free. Hind, he gathers it eventually. He's got McGrath again. Eventually gives it to him. Now McGrath goes over the top to Martin. Good tackle there from Zorko. That should be deliberate. And the umpire gives it. Yeah, poor handball there from Martin. That was always going to be deliberate. So over the top, Zorko finds Sharp. He's pretty good last week, Harry Sharp. Had a few touches in this second term. Wheels around on the right boot. Kicks it inside. Just outside the forward 50 here to a one-on-one. And Joe Danaher goes out the back and rolls out of bounds. Zerk Thatcher still hasn't got... I mean, half his jumper's nearly ripped off his Zerk Thatcher. So just outside the forward 50 now. McInerney and Phillips in the ruck. Umpire wheels it in. Phillips takes it out of there. Setterfield. That was almost a throw against Phillips, but eventually Setterfield gets the football. Handballs it backwards, and now they go long here, Essendon. Hobbs in a one-on-one. Does nicely. Now Stringer gives off the handball to Merritt. He kicks it long to a one-on-one. Langford to the one. Leicester does nicely. Langford gets the football. He needs to get onto a boot. He doesn't, and that's a great tackle from Leicester. Great play. Should have been holding the ball. Doesn't pay it, though. McCluggage goes in short to Rayner. Back to McCluggage. McCluggage kicks it inside the 450 to a leading Danaher. Great play from Brisbane. And Danaher moves around on the left boot, goes into the forward pocket with a very nice kick. And he finds his ex-captain in Dane Zorko. Surprised Danaher actually didn't go back there, but it's good team play. Find his captain, returning player this week in Dane Zorko in the forward pocket. And Brisbane do need a goal here because they've dominated this second term, but they've only kicked two behinds to show for it. Dane Zorko, been a brilliant player for the club, comes in, kicks towards goal, and he's hooked it to the left. Poor kick there from Dane Zorko. He was in their team in the dark years, 5 or 6 years ago. Was always their best player every week. And now he has a chance to maybe, towards the end of his career, maybe get a premiership out of it. But that was a poor kick, I'm not going to lie. So Mason Redmond in the defensive goal square goes in short. He finds D'Ambrosio. He was a late in for Alan Davey. He goes in short. And he finds Zerk Thatcher. I don't know why that's play on. He's just... Oh, he feigns the kick nicely on Hipwood. Eventually gets away and kicks it down the wing to a one-on-one. Stringer can't gather it. Gets out of bounds. Roll just outside of the grasp of Dunkley. Essendon just can't exit defensive 50 at the moment, really. Ashcroft comes back onto the ground. He's been a little bit quieter in the second term. Was brilliant in the opening term for Brisbane. We're back in the ruck now. McInerney knocks it out the back nicely. Coming through was Ashcroft, but he can't get rid of it and be another ball up. So back in the ruck once again. McInerney taps it backwards nicely to Berry. Oh, great mark there from McCarthy. Wasn't paid it, though. That was, I think, I thought that was 15, but umpire was made the call. So, a bit ball up. Draper and McInerney been at it most of the night. Tripped out there was Caldwell. That should have been a free kick. Will Ashcroft, I mean, it was accidental, but he did trip him. Caldwell didn't like that, but umpire didn't pay it anyway. Back in the ruck, McInerney thumps it forward. Bailey just can't gather it. It's been a little bit sloppy tonight, Bailey. Eventually, he does the tackle nicely on Setterfield. Gives it back to Neal. Now Neal kicks it towards the top of the 50 with a dangerous kick. McCarthy can't gather it. Coming through is Bailey. Left it behind, though. High, and he takes high. And he gets a little bit lucky there. Be a ball up. Inside the forward 50 here. So McInerney gives out the handball. Now Bailey, he fumbles it again. Goes back for it. Does nicely get it out. Now Setterfield, though, from Essendon. Gives it off to Redmond. Redmond, nice little turn. Gives it off to Hobbs. Hobbs, he has time, but not that much. Now gives off a hot handball to D'Ambrosio. Leaves it behind. Neal comes through. Great tackle from Baldwin. And now Essendon can go on the counter. Martin gives it out to Hobbs. Back to Martin. And Essendon have a bit of space to work with now. Gives the handball inside to Setterfield onto his toes. But Setterfield does nicely. Kicks it into the pocket. Just hits the ground there in front of Langford. He kicks it towards the top of the goal square to a one-on-one. Stringer with the one! And he takes the mark. Great kick there from Langford. Saw the mismatch with Kadeen Coleman and Stringer's always going to win that one-on-one. And really, against the run of play, Essendon didn't have a chance to kick them back to within 2 points. Great play there from Stringer. Great play from Essendon at the end on the counter. And now to give it back to a 2-point margin, Jake Stringer, round the body, should kick this, not too far out. Comes around the right boot, snaps towards goal and kicks the first of the second term. Took a while, but eventually we get our first goal of the quarter through Jake Stringer. Well, despite Brisbane absolutely dominating the second term, Essendon did actually get the only goal of it. Great finish there from Jake Stringer. Great work in the end to get it down there. And they wind up with their first. Currently in the other game right now, Essendon, the Bulldogs lead 15-4 over Carlton right now. Carlton yet to score a goal, and it's in the second term right now. 6 minutes into the second term. They're currently leading the disposal getter on the ground for both clubs. We have Merritt with the 13 and then Dane Zorko with the 12. Good start for Dane Zorko. He's been pretty good tonight. So back in the ruck now. Shield gets out the handball only as far as Dunkley. Good tackle there from Setterfield, but Dunkley does get it away to Coleman. And then great composure there from Ashcroft. Kick it out wide. And he finds a free Danaher. If he gets a bounce, he's away. Gives him the handball inside to Bailey. Bailey just jams it on the boot. Kicks it inside the forward 50, but it goes out in the full. Just been a little bit sloppy tonight, Zach Bailey. Usually quite a clean player, but he's just been sloppy at times. So it will be Durham in the back. It'll be Andrew McGrath in the back pocket. He goes long down to the wing with a pack of players. Phillips can't bring it down. Shield gives it out wide. Good handball. Finds Durham. He gets an obliging bounce. He'll be away. He doesn't really. Just taps towards Perkins. Makes it his problem. Berry. Good tackle on Perkins. He kicks it forward. Now Tipper-Woody taps it in front of himself. Keeps his feet. Does nicely, Tipper. And now gives it off to Durham. Kicks it inside the forward 50 to a leading Langford. He gets it out the back. Kyle Langford snaps an absolute beauty. Great finish from Kyle Langford, and Essendon are on a roll. Kyle Langford, he's been around the mark tonight, but he just hasn't been able to get a hand on the footy. But right then and there, read the ball nicely, got at the back of the Brisbane defenders, and despite Brisbane's dominance in the second term, Essendon get another. So a great goal there from the Bombers. Still 10 minutes to go in the second term, but the Bombers finally find a couple. Just get it inside their forward 50, and then they're very dangerous. I think he's one of the better players in the AFL, Kyle Langford. I think he's very underrated. I think more clubs should be looking at him. I don't know how much he gets paid at Essendon, but if he's not one of the highest paid not highest paid, but if he's not in their top 10, I don't know how he couldn't be. Back in the ruck. Danaher takes it out of there. Does nicely get out the handle to McCluggage. McCluggage's handball was poor. It gets as far as Durham. Does nicely to get out the handball to Redmond. He drives it inside the 452, a one-on-one tip, and Woody leaves it behind. Coming through was Hobbs. Good tackle on McKenna. It'll be a ball up inside the forward 50 here for the Bombers. So back in the ruck now. Draper just takes it out of the ruck. Kicks it long inside the pocket. Shield comes through, almost marked it in the end. Fisted away nicely to be a stoppage inside the forward 50 here for the Bombers. Rayner did nicely there because Shield was about to mark that. But Brad Scott looking a little bit more calmer in this second term. Looks like Essendon getting back into it. And those 2 goals have kind of sparked them into life, really. So back in the ruck now. Tip and Woody running through. Couldn't gather it. Rayner gets to the football and just clears it out of the defensive 50. Zerk Thatcher does nicely to knock his opponent under it. Mark Ra, nice little kick inside. Finds Setterfield. So Setterfield has the football in the middle of the ground. It wheels around on the right boot and it eventually drives it inside the forward 50 to a pack of players. Out the back is Draper. Can't take the mark. Now Langford sockers it off the ground and it rolls through for a point. Langford's looking a little bit ominous at the moment. So kicks it in McKenna. Kicks in, nice little kick to Leicester. And McKenna comes through with a nice little run. Kicks it down towards the wing, but Redmond cuts it off. Poor handball to Merritt. Does nicely to get the handball away, but now Darcy Wilmot. Kick goes towards the top of the 50. Kicks towards goal. First play to get back will be Zach Bailey. We get there in time. No. And it rolls through for a point from Darcy Wilmot. I think Wilmot was a little bit in 2 minds whether to kick the goal or kick it at Bailey. So he kicked it in between. It rolled through for a point. A little bit unlucky there, Brisbane. Back to 4 points. Taking out of defence was McGrath. Long kick. Berry. Can't take the mark, but in front was Neil. Neil, the nice little short kick inside. Finds Hippert on the bounce. Nice little handball there to Ashcroft, but he's immediately met by Merritt. It'll be a ball up. So back in the ruck now. Draper knocks it down. Durham, as D'Ambrosio, gets it out nicely to Martin. He kicks it out wide. Oh, Menzie overran it. Now he gets back onto it. Nice pressure. Keeps it inside. Handles it to no one in particular. Neil picks it up off to Coleman. Now Coleman kicks it back inside the forward 52. McCarthy can't gather it. D'Ambrosio leaves it behind. McCarthy comes through and it'll be a ball up inside the forward pocket. Brisbane getting a little bit frustrated up forward at the moment because they just can't score a goal at the moment. They've had dominance over Essendon in this second quarter, but Essendon have kicked the only 2 goals of it. That Brisbane have kicked 4 behinds. It's been poor in front of goal for Brisbane. Back in the ruck, Danaher comes out from the back, does nicely to McCarthy, breaks past, kicks it towards the top of the goal square. Gunston running through, went to ground poorly. Now out the back is Martin. Nice little kick out wide to Durham. And Durham can go. He's got space and got time. He finds a kick inside, good kick. And then goes over the top though of Menzie. Menzie works hard onto it. Shield just lockers it off the ground. Probably got a high one. Umpire calls play on Leicester. Handballs it into Shield and it'll be out of bounds. So, on the centre wing right now. Umpire will eventually throw it in. Bulldogs lead 16-10 in the other game, by the way. Back in the ruck, Draper just thumps it forward. Only as far as Sharp. Sharp just jams it back on the boot. Rayner does nicely. Just couldn't get onto it. He's tackled there high and probably should have been pinned for it. Eventually taps towards the boundary line. The umpire gives him a reprieve. Will be a ball in. 7 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the second term. Essendon have only got the 2 goals from it. Have got the only 2 goals from this quarter. Brisbane have absolutely dominated, but they don't have anything to show on it on the scoreboard. Back in the ruck. Danaher hit Draper without the ball. Then McCluggage came through, can't gather it. Merritt does very nicely, quick hands. Gives it off to D'Ambrosio. Now Nick Hine can go. Gives over the handball over the top. Poor handball though, ill-directed and Leicester guts it off. Eventually jams it on the boot, kicks it inside the forward 50. Gunston comes through, does nicely. Heppel knocks it to the ground. Over the top, Lincoln McCarthy with a nice little kick to Rayner, but great cut off there from McGrath. Durham gets on the football. He's got to get a kick away. Eventually he does, and it's a great kick. He finds Setterfield. Now Setterfield drives it out wide. Great kick to Langford. He's been good this quarter. He goes over the top. He's got a free man. It's a good kick. He finds Menzie. Now Menzie, he's got a couple of options inside the forward 50. One of them's a leading Langford who kept going. And he got a free kick. That's a free kick. Great play there from Kyle Langford. You can't do that there, Harris Andrews. He took Langford out of that, and that'll be a free kick. Inside the forward pocket here, Essendon. A chance to bring it to a 10-point lead. When honestly, they have been dominated in this quarter, Essendon, and they've only got the 2 goals from it at the moment. Could be a third here if Kyle Langford can go back and kick his second. So Kyle Langford in the forward pocket, a right footer, but he looks like he's going to go around on the left boot to snap towards goal. He snaps, but he's hit it too much, and it's rolled through for a point. It's gone through for a behind. So Brisbane come out of defence now. Harris Andrews has the football. Goes long down the wing to a one-on-one. Great mark from Dunkley. He eventually took it. He took it once, twice, but eventually brought it down on the third go. He goes in short to Sharp. He'll be good in the second term, Harry Sharp. Has the football on the wing. Came into the side a couple of weeks ago. And has found himself in the team still. Goes long with the kick. Heppel goes up, can't bring it down, rolls out of bounds. Just outside the forward 50 here for all the Brisbane Lions. 5.5 minutes to go in the second term. Kyle Langford's currently getting his hand checked here by the doctor. That's the last thing they need, is Kyle Langford to be coming off. It looks like he's okay. Maybe just a stinger. So back in the ruck. Top of the 50. McInerney can't gather it. Knocks it down. Dylan Shield left it behind though. Lockie Neal wanted it more. Can't gather it. And then Andrew McGrath just runs it out of bounds. Another stoppage. So despite there only being 5 goals in this game so far, it's been pretty entertaining. Been a very close game of footy from the outset. No team really been able to get away. McInerney knocks it down. Coming through was Caldwell. Jams it on the boot. Kicks it towards the wing. Up goes Wiedemann. Brings it down. Sharp. Can't gather it cleanly. Now on the ground, Andrews just fighting for the football. Good tackle from Stringer. Be another ball up. So back in the ruck. McInerney knocks it down. Ashcroft comes through nicely. Gets a little kick away. Good spoil from behind there from Hipwood. Brought it to ground. Brought a contest. Only as far as Setterfield. He just launches a handball. Does nicely Sharp. Ashcroft gathers it. Back to Zorko. That was a throw. Umpire calls play on. Hipwood sets it up towards the top of the pocket. One-on-one is Lincoln McCarthy. With a nice little mark. Just cradled it in the right hand and take the mark. So now McCarthy was looking for an option inside a teammate, but he couldn't find one. Eventually, the umpire tells him to go back. So I think absolutely 100% Zorko threw that over his head, but the umpire didn't call it. And now, Lincoln McCarthy, a chance to kick Brisbane back in front. Wheels around the left boot, snaps towards goal, he's hit the post. Another behind for the Lions. They've wasted a couple of opportunities in this second term. They've had 15 inside 50s in this quarter, Brisbane. And they've kicked 5 behind. And now Brisbane have given away a 50-metre penalty. Dunkley's not happy at all. But he's given it away. And now Dyson Heppel will have it. It could be another one here. Got very lucky. I think Heppel probably should have given a little bit more of an effort of saying how much he was getting impeded there by Hipwood. But play onto the call. Now McGrath goes out wide. Finds Zerk Thatcher. Still hasn't changed his jumper, Zerk Thatcher. Goes in short. He finds Baldwin. Had a pretty good start to this game, Baldwin. Kicks it into the pocket. Great kick and finds Tip and Woody. So he's basically taken this mark where the 50 meets the boundary. Very tough angle if McDonald, Tip and Woody. This would be a very hard kick here for Tipper. 30 years of age, 130 games, 156 goals. Had a pretty good start to this one. Tip and Woody decides to set up to the top of the goal square. Leading through was Stringer, can't bring it down. Wiedemann drops that. Should be gone. And it is. Good tackle there from Payne. 3.5 minutes to go in the second term. Payne has the free kick. Goes into the defensive pocket. Nice little kick to Berry. Berry, nice little kick again. Finds Lincoln McCarthy. looking for a free kick, didn't get it. Over the top, nice little kick, finds Starskovic. Doesn't take the mark though. Great pressure from Menzie, and he's gone! Great tackle from Menzie. And he gives it to Starskovic. Poor play there from Starskovic. Should have taken the mark, dropped it, and then eventually didn't have a handball option, and then gave away 50. Starskovic for a little bit of... He's given away, I think, for abuse against the umpire. I think that's what it was for, but they've absolutely dominated the second term, Brisbane. And Menzie, really, he should kick it. This will give him a 10-point lead. Oh, Conor McKenna gave away the 50. Sorry, it was off the replay. But now Jai Menzie to kick Essendon to a 10-point lead. Snaps around his body, and I think he's got it. He has. So the Bombers take a 10-point lead. Just under 3 minutes to go in this second term. So first goal of the game there for Jai Menzie, and Essendon now have a 10-point lead. So currently at the moment, leading disposal getters on the ground are Merritt and Ashcroft, both with the 15 touches on the ground. Both been brilliant tonight. Probably the biggest surprise pack into the game so far is Ben Hobbs. He's had 12 touches, been brilliant in the middle. And Dane Zorgo has been brilliant for Brisbane as well, along with Joe Danaher. So back in the ruck, Phillips knocks it down Merritt, taps it on nicely to Caldwell, and Essendon go forward again. Nice little kick out wide. It's a great kick, finds Hobbs. So Hobbs has the footy. 60 out from goal, wheels around on the right boot, goes inside the forward 50, leading is Draper! Oh, he can't bring it down though. Lester gets through, gets tackled nicely, and it'll be a ball up. Draper had two hands to that football. He probably should have taken it, but he just fumbled it at the wrong stage. So back in the ruck now, McInerney and Draper. Draper knocks it down, Hobbs. Can't get rid of it. Good tackle there from Coleman. Be another ball up. So back in the ruck, Draper knocks it down, coming through nicely with his Stringer. Probably threw that out, to be honest. Setterfield gives out the handball. Hobbs, nice little handball to the captain. Captain Zachy Merritt kicks towards goal. Goes into the defensive pocket, and Andrews takes the mark. And Durham probably should have been 50 there, to be honest, but it'll be a mark to Andrews. So Andrews takes the mark. He goes in short. Finds Coleman. So Coleman has the football. They switch the play. Good kick. He finds McKenna. So McKenna now probably goes to the one after giving away a 50-metre penalty. Goes out wide. Good kick. Finds Charlie Cameron. Been a little bit quieter in the second term, Charlie. Andy McGrath's definitely taken the win out of that battle so far in this game. Cameron goes inside. Finds Starskovic. So Starskovic has the football. Brisbane just trying to take a little bit of sting out of this game at the moment. He goes in short. He finds Lockie Neal. So just over a minute to go in this first half. Neal has the football. Goes long down towards the 50. Up goes Zerk Thatcher. Great mark. Still hasn't changed his jumper, by the way. He's almost got his jumper ripped off. It's staying on by a couple of threads. It's still alive, that jumper. But he takes the mark. And he kicks it back down that wing. On the outer side. Long to McInerney. Cuts it off. Nice mark. I think Essendon will be very happy with this lead at half time. Goes in short and finds Sharp. So Sharp has the football, goes back inside, finds Andrews. I think Brisbane don't really look like they want to move this forward too quickly. But eventually Andrews decides to go long. Towards the top of the 50 to the Telstra logo. Can't take the mark. Thumped away there from Phillips, and it'll be a ball in. Just outside the forward 50 here for Brisbane. 24 seconds to go. Chris Fagan chucks in a lolly down his gullet to try and get a little bit of sugar in. I don't know why, but anyway. Don't even know why I mentioned it, to be honest, but anyway. Back in the ruck now. Phillips goes up, knocks it down, straight down to Lockie Neal, gives off the handball. McCluggage gets onto the footy to give Brisbane a goal late in this order. Charlie Cameron drops the mark. Eric Hipwood threw that away. How is that not a free kick? Charlie Cameron kicks it away, kicks it towards goal, gets smothered nicely. Now, McGrath, nice little handball to Baldwin. He kicks it out wide. It's actually a pretty good kick in the end. And Durham couldn't get there and be a ball in. But great little scrambling defence there from Essendon. It should have been a free kick against Hipwood. He threw that back into play. I don't know why the umpire didn't pay it, but anyway. Umpire throws it in now. And a good first half of this game from Essendon. Despite Brisbane dominating that second term, Brisbane could not get a goal, and Essendon take the lead in at halftime. The scores are 2-7, 19 to Brisbane. Down by 10 to Essendon, 4-5, 29. Alright, statistics I'm going to halftime. Alright, so there is 66 for half-time, guys. So at half-time, we have Zach Merritt leading all comers with disposals with the 16, Lockie Neal and Ashcroft with the 15, and then Essendon's Redmond and Hobbs with the 14. And then with the best fantasy scorers on the ground, we have Dane Zorko leading all comers with the 64, Hobbs with the 56, Ashcroft with the 56, Merritt with the 55, and then ending the top 5 is Josh Dunkley with the 53. God, that was a mouthful. Sorry. Anyway. Alright, that's half time, guys. We'll be back in the second half. G'day, guys. Welcome back to the Boundary Riders podcast. This is episode 9, I believe, and we're getting up to round 8 now. Round 7 was pretty big. We had Port Adelaide come from behind to beat St Kilda. We had Geelong probably on the way back now, having their 4th win in a row. G'day guys, welcome back to the Boundary Riders podcast. This is episode 9, I believe, and we're getting up to round 8 now. Round 7 was pretty big. We had Port Adelaide come from behind to beat St Kilda. We had Geelong probably on the way back now, having their 4th win in a row. We saw Sydney lose a huge lead against the Giants, and the Giants caused an upset. We also saw Collingwood come back yet again to win against the Crows. As always, here with our co-host Jack, or Jackpot Junkies, over on Instagram. How did you think the round went this week?
Yeah, there was a couple close games. One a classic, obviously, with the Collingwood game, and then a couple blowouts like we saw on Saturday night with both of those pretty disappointing, not even AFL standard teams going at it.
Yeah, I thought that North Melbourne definitely off that honeymoon period of Alistair Clarkson. Now they've lost, 4 in a row, and the last 2 of the last 3 games they've looked dreadful against Brisbane and obviously Melbourne. So I think that's kind of the honeymoon period's over, and now Alistair Clarkson has to find some sort of magic out of that group.
Yeah, he's got to find out some diamonds in the rough. He's got to play the youth players that are going to be there for the future of their club. So
yeah, well, one thing that Alistair Clarkson did say during the week, he was talking about the new Tasmanian development, the new Tasmanian team that's suspected to be coming announced. I don't know, probably at the end of the year if they are going to have a team.
Yeah.
Well, maybe in the next couple of years. I don't know how it's going to be. But nonetheless, the government and the AFL have announced that there's going to be a $750 million budget or something for the new stadium down in Tasmania for the new team.
Yeah.
So what's your overall belief of the new Tassie team coming to the AFL?
I think it's needed for the AFL to be whole, if you want to say that. They're saying the stadium's not going to have a roof, which I'm pretty disappointed that they're not going to do that. Since it's right on the beach front, it's going to be extremely cold for everything that happens there. So, but I think it's in the capacity for grounds going to be mid to 20,000.
So I have always said that
Tasmania should have a team in the AFL. I think it's always been needed. I think Tasmania don't really have a lot of teams in context of like sports in Australia as well. I think they have an NBL team, and they also have obviously the Big Bash, but I think it's going to be very difficult in the beginning for a Tasmanian team to flourish. I think that they can most definitely, but a big thing that's being talked about is the fact that one, the stadium is going to cost way more than $750 million.
Yeah.
I've looked up a few things just before starting actually about things that like we got to look at from like the Giants and things like that. So the Giants stadium was estimated at like $900 million, and eventually it almost doubled the cost in the end of price, which was $1.6 billion.
Yeah.
So they're also saying that like they don't want to have a roof. They're saying that they're not going to have a roof on the Tasmanian stadium, which I don't know if that's going to be a good idea. I think it almost needs to.
Yeah, I think
to a certain extent, because the stadium is in Tasmania. It's 9 months, 10 months of the year. It's raining and cold. I think it'd be great for the stadium as a whole to be the second only stadium in the country that's got a roof on it, or AFL stadium anyway. I think that would be very beneficial as well. Like, you know, they could have a really cool roof over it that goes up and back. But that would double the price of the stadium. And if they're already estimating for $750 million for a stadium with no roof,
it's
like the Giants stadium that's cost $1.6 billion, I think they're going to be, if they are deciding to not keep a roof on it, they're at least looking at $1.5 billion, which is no mean feat. Obviously, that's a huge amount of money. And the Tasmanian government, I don't know the exact amount, but the Tasmanian government are paying for a bit of it. The AFL are only paying for about 15% of the total bill. And I think the Australian government and Tasmanian governments are paying for the majority of the rest, I think. I'm not exactly sure. Don't quote me on that. I 100% believe that the Tasmanian team should be for the AFL. I think that the whole state would get around it. It's not like the GWS and Gold Coast situation, because the fact is, they're not football states. Tasmania is a football state. But another thing as well is, how many kids are going to want to go down to Tasmania and play if they're not from Tasmania?
Yeah.
I think it's a big thing to leave the main, if you can say that, the main part of the island of Australia to go down to Tasmania where it's cold 9 months of the year. I personally love the cold, but I don't think a lot of kids around, 18 want to move down to Tassie.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it will be great, and I think that Alistair Clarkson did make a good point of how they could make it a fortress down there. Because if you learn the conditions down in Tasmania, in 3 or 4 years of the team's development and, growth, I mean, so many teams are going to go down there and not know the conditions very well, but all these players are just going to know it off by heart.
Yeah. As you saw with Hawthorn a couple of weeks ago when they played the Crows.
Yeah, they nearly knocked them off.
But, yeah.
And the Crows have got a terrible record down there and only just caught back, and I don't think against any other team they would have. So, I mean, I would love it as a Tasmanian team. I think it'd be great. I think that it'd have to be in Hobart, because Hobart's a lot more populated than the rest of Tasmania, like Launceston, for example.
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit surprised that they just didn't want to redevelop one of the stadiums they've already got.
I think that's what they should have done. And, I was surprised that they didn't just decide to invest in one of the stadiums and completely demolish it and rebuild it to whatever they wanted to.
Yeah, I'm surprised by they didn't do that, and I feel like it would be a lot more of a money saver when they've already got 2 stadiums down there that hold sport.
The other reason was that for cricket, that's the reason that they're not having a roof on it, is because of the cricket, it doesn't really make sense since they play Big Bash.
Stadium.
They play the Big Bash at Marvel Stadium, so I think that's just a cop out. But
yeah, I don't know about that, but
yeah,
I think overall, 100%. I think the AFL almost need to have it. I think it'd be good to have a 19th or a 20th team, like 19 and 20 teams, because then the teams could just play once every single week of the year against each other, 20 rounds, instead of having 24 rounds. And I think the fixture as well is quite. I think the fixturing of the AFL lately has been fucking woeful. It's not fair to any team, because like some teams, like, I don't want to hate on the Crows, but they've had a very easy start to the year, only playing Carlton and Port Adelaide, I think, who are in the 8 at the moment.
Oh, and Collingwood.
And Collingwood. And the rest of the games they've had have been against Hawthorn, which is a pretty easy beat. They had Fremantle, who seem like easy beats this season. The GWS, who they lost to, which, yes, Sydney lost to them, but they should really beat the Giants. And that's I can't remember who else.
I think also, like, Carlton have the Eagles twice.
Yeah.
Which is, as we saw in the game, which we'll talk about later, which was, demoralising.
Well, also as well, St Kilda, I think, have only left Victoria once this year.
Is that gather round when they moved?
I think it was that. I think it's the only time they've played outside of... Or maybe it's once or twice they've only played outside of Marvel this season, I think.
Yeah, because they played the 150th against Essendon at
the MCG. I think that is. I can't remember exactly, but I think definitely one of the Victorian teams have only left the state once this year. So I think that's a little bit unfair but I mean, it's pretty hard to do when they have 10 teams in Victoria, 8 teams in Victoria. I can't even remember now. But I think as well they've talked they could bring in a 20th team, and one of them could be a South Australian club.
What I've heard is that they would do it for one of the teams up north in WA, around there, to get the NT and WA into it, sort of thing.
Okay, I've heard Norwood. Maybe an option as well. I think that it should be a third club. If it's going to be one of those states, has to be. I think it should be South Australia. That's not just bias, but I think we saw how well Gather Round went. And to be honest, where's the club going to be built where it's well in WA higher up?
Yeah, like I think Broome probably is the only area.
But it's a country town, isn't it? A country area. I don't know if that's going to fill a whole AFL. Like, the thing is as well, if you're going, let's say you're coming down to South Australia for the weekend to go watch the footy, where are you going to go? I mean, you're going to go to Norwood. That's not too far away from the CBD. If you want to go to Broome to go watch AFL football once every 2 weeks, for example.
Yeah.
Once a fortnight. You want to go see a team. Is anyone going to go up to Broome to fucking go see the footy? But I don't know. Maybe it would work. I just think as well that Optus Stadium... I don't know. I just think it'd be kind of weird for Perth to get it. Well, Western Australia. But nonetheless, I wanted to talk about now AFL 23. So we talked about it last week. We gave a little bit of our thoughts about it. I think it's going to be the best AFL game that we've seen. I just had a few issues with the pricing of it, considering it's a $79 game and it's also going to have microtransactions. So that was my issue with it. It does look quite good. I think it looks a little bit clunky in some areas as well, but I've seen a few videos of gameplay that's seen so far and it's actually looked okay. But obviously one thing that was mentioned as well is this game is going to have like an ultimate team feature, and it's also going to have like AFL's version of icons from FIFA, which are legend players. Now, AFL actually recently released 2 players from every single team in the AFL, and have named 2 legends for each of them.
Yeah.
So today, I thought it'd be a good idea that me and my brother have gone through. Haven't looked at them yet, but we've made like a little list of like two other players in different teams that could have been legends or will come in the future. Because I think they've said that they will bring future AFL legends to this game, which I think is good.
Yeah, which they kind of have to do since it's a new game that they got to make it.
Because this game's not going to be like FIFA, it comes out every year. I think it will be like a 2 or 3 or 4 year thing. So, because I don't think Big Ant Studios, who make the game, are going to be able to make a game every single year. I think that's a little bit... I don't think there's any chance of that happening. But nonetheless, we've gone through and we've wrote down a little list together of like 2 different players, and I guess I'll start. We got Adelaide. I've picked McLeod and Simon Goodwin. I think they would both be pretty good additions to the game. Who have you got for the Crows?
I went McLeod as well, and I went Rashudo for...
Yeah, so I mean, both... Well, all of them are premiership players for the Crows in 98, 99, so I think that'd be fair enough. Also, if you do see this, guys, let me know down below who you believe what legend player you would like to see. I've tried to go for a lot more players that you guys have seen, because I'm assuming I'm surprised a lot of the legends that they've picked are players of like in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah. I mean, how many people from the 80s and the 90s are going to be playing this game? I don't know if there's going to be many. I'm surprised they haven't picked more from like the 2000s and whatever. But after that, we got to Brisbane. I've picked Jason Ackermanis and Jonathan Brown. I'm very surprised Jonathan Brown isn't in this game, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well, but I picked the same as well for the legends that should have probably been in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how they picked these legends. I'm assuming that they had to ask these players for like their name rights and whatever. And maybe some people didn't want to be a part of the game, which is totally fair. But I think a lot of the players that they've picked are quite strange. Next up, though, for Carlton, I picked Cade Simpson and Mark Murphy.
Yeah, I went Cade Simpson as well, but I went for Vola, which I'm surprised that they didn't go with him either, since I thought they would go with some characters, which are different, a bit out there players, but...
Yeah, I mean, they could have been well enough. For Collingwood, I have to mention this. Why did they pick David Cloak?
Yeah, when I saw that, I thought, I thought they just misprinted Travis Cloak.
Yeah, I was very surprised that David Cloak, of all people, got into this game. There are so many legends for Collingwood, and they picked David Cloak.
Yeah,
I was
you
very
could have
surprised
picked
by that.
anyone, really.
Yeah, so I chose Dane Swan and Nick Maxwell.
Yeah, I went, which everyone should pretty much know by now, is Peter Dacos. We've all seen him pretty much every week in the AFL this year.
Yeah, when one of the Dacos
Michelle,
brothers
yeah.
have a decent game,
Yeah.
they're always in the stands at the MCG.
Yeah, and I went with Alan Didak as well, with a good forward pocket he was. So
Yeah, so next we get to Essendon, and this one is so surprising that this player wasn't picked, but I picked James Hird. I don't know if that's because the AFL don't like him anymore or whatever, but I felt that was very surprising, and I also picked Jobe Watson.
Yeah.
I mean, was a Brownlow medalist until he got it taken away from him, but...
I picked the same as well. Like I think, I don't know. Yeah, like I think the people they did choose for Essendon was probably right in what was it, Fletcher and Matthew Lloyd. So there's a lot to choose from for Essendon. So
yeah. After that, I think this is probably the one that they got the most correct, which is Fremantle. They picked Pavlich and David Mundy. I think that's pretty well fair enough. But for two legends for Freo, I picked Aaron Sandland and Hayden Ballantyne. I think they were pretty legendary players for their club in their day. Maybe not so much Ballantyne, but I still think he'd probably deserve a spot.
Yeah, I went with Sandlands, but I also went with Luke McFarlane. I thought he was always a good player, centre half back for the Dockers. So surprised by that one.
Yeah. So after that, we've got the Gold Coast and the Giants. Now, because I was very when I was thinking about it, I could not think of a person I could think of. Other than Gary Ablett for the Gold Coast, which I know you've picked.
That's the obvious one. Yeah. So
I was very surprised. It was very hard to pick legends for these clubs, just because a lot of the players who I would define as a legend for these clubs haven't retired yet. Like, for example, I think David Swallow for the Gold Coast would be one.
That's the obvious one.
And for the Giants, Callan Ward probably, and Phil Davis would probably be my two picks for them. But obviously they haven't retired yet, so they can't become legends. But I know you've picked a couple.
Yeah, I went with Gary Ablett Jr. He just had to. I was surprised he wasn't actually picked. I don't know, maybe it was because of the Geelong factor that was there. I couldn't really pick another one for the Gold Coast, really. I went Nathan Bock, but that was the only thing I picked. And for the Giants, where did I go? It was... I went Ryan Griffin and Chad Corns for them, but there was not many other people you choose from. Maybe Stevie J, obviously.
Yeah,
Johnson.
Other than that, it's really hard to pick from the Giants ones as well.
they
Because
haven't
again, a lot of them haven't retired
Yeah.
yet. So I think that was a bit difficult one, but yeah, I think that was pretty well good enough. After that, we get to Geelong. I've picked Cameron Mooney and Jimmy Bartell. Now, there are obviously so many legendary players for Geelong. I'm sure you picked a couple as well.
Yeah, I went for the backman. I went for the Matthew Scarlett, pretty much says what itself, and Corey Enright. They were both pretty lethal as a
defensive unit back there at the
defensive
time.
unit in their premiership window.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Darren Milburn, they've got Andrew Mackey, Joel Corey, Stevie J. I mean, the Geelong, they could probably fill out a whole team of a legends team for the Geelong. So, I mean, they were very good in their day. After that, though, we get to Hawthorn. Again, Hawthorn had so many players in their premiership era when, Jared Ruffhead, Jesus Christ, I've just completely gone blank. Cyril Rioli. I think that he could be a part of that. I'm very surprised with Hawthorn's picks.
Yeah.
I mean, not so much Jason Dunstall. I get that, he was one of the top goal scorers of all time.
Yeah.
But Platten.
Alright guys, so we're back for the third quarter now. 10 points the difference at half time. Essendon have been very good, but Brisbane dominated that second quarter. They just couldn't put it on the scoreboard, really. Oh, my back. Let's see if Brisbane can come back in the second half, or Essendon could cause a big upset up at the Gabba. Essendon played brilliantly. So umpire just about ready to thump it down now. Umpire puts it down in the ruck. McInerney can't gather it, but Ashcroft does nicely. Gives out the handball backwards, and Dunkley gets the football, drives it down towards the forward 50. Neil, almost a push in the back. Coming through nicely there was McCarthy, gathered it, then goes inside the forward pocket, but the kick was too much and goes out in the fall. So free kick will go to Baldwin. So now Wiedemann can't gather it. Now Rayner does nicely struggle to tackle a Perkins. He kicks it high in the air here in the Gabba sky. And, Danaher almost dragged it down out the back. Gunston can't gather it. McCluggage comes through. He can't gather it either. Does nicely. Zerk Thatcher with a new jumper. Handballs it out to Caldwell. Does very nicely and kicks it down toward the wing. But Payne will cut it off. Pretty nonchalant little mark there from Payne. Eventually kicks it back inside the forward 50 to a leading Danaher. Uncontested mark. And takes it straight in front of goal about 30 metres out. How you doing, Sean, man? How you doing tonight? Looks like pretty good if you're a Port supporter. So Joey Danaher to kick his third goal of the night. And it would be all of Brisbane's goals, I believe. Yeah, he'd be if he gets this, he's still got all their goals now, but this is for his third. Joe Danaher comes in straight in front of goal and he's kicked it. So I guess if Brisbane are going to win this game, Joey Danaher is going to have to really shine in the second half. Good finish there from Joe. And the first goal of the second half goes to the Lions. Back to 4 points. So good goal there from the Lions. A good start to the second half. They didn't get a goal in that second quarter, despite a huge amount of dominance. But in the end, no one really stayed with Danaher in the end, and Zerk Thatcher was not manned up on him at the time. It looked like maybe Eddie McGrath was on him, but obviously he was going to be way too strong to keep that, to get away from McGrath, and then just takes an easy mark. So back in the ruck now, umpire poor bounce, and it'll be called back. So back in the ruck now. McInerney comes through, taps it down on as far as Dylan Shield off to Merritt. And now Essendon should get the clearance here through Hind. Hind kicks it around on the right boot to Durham down the field. He can't take the mark. Umpire's called for a free kick here. And it's Dylan Shield, I think, who got taken down behind play. No, it wasn't. It was a Brisbane player. So Brisbane free kick. Lockie Neal goes in short. Nice kick. Finds Dane Zorko. Zorko goes out wide. Nice kick. Great kick. Finds Dunkley. So Dunkley has the football. Gives off the handball nicely to Coleman, and Coleman with a nice little chip kick. Can't take the mark there, Gunston, and pushed out of bounds. So Dylan Shield is actually currently coming off the ground here. He's limping at the moment. He's got a little bit of an issue with, I think, the left foot. So he's coming off limping. Let's hope for all Essendon fans he's okay. Oh, Christ. Back in the ruck now. McInerney locks it down to Dunkley. Dunkley snaps towards goal. Top of the goal square. It's Joey Danaher again. The one-man show at the moment for Brisbane. Danaher takes the mark at the top of the goal square. So it looks like Dylan Shield actually got his ankle trotted on there by Rayners. It's happened here, and it's rolled on the outside. But meanwhile, Joey Danaher, a chance to kick the fourth goal of the game and the fourth goal for Brisbane, and Brisbane's fourth goal. Joe Danaher, one man keeping them in it at the moment. He comes in straight in front, 20 metres out. Shouldn't miss this goal, Joe Danaher. He doesn't. Great finish from Joe, and Brisbane take a 2-point lead. So they take the lead back after going down at half-time. So a good start to the second half here for the Lions. Half-time in the other game, by the way, Bulldogs lead by 18 points, 28-10. But Joe Danaher's got all 4 goals for Brisbane at the moment. They lead 4-7-31 to the Bombers 4-5-29. So Dylan Shield just went off the ground there with a rolled ankle. He should be okay. He may just need a little bit of time, maybe get a re-strap on that ankle. But yeah, Cam Rayner actually trotted on his, well, not really trotted on it, more like a knee to his ankle. And he's came off the ground, limping. But now back in the ruck now. That'll be a big loss for Essendon. But Phillips knocks it down, coming through Setterfield. Can't gather it. Dunkley will get the clearance here for the Lions. Just kicks it out of there towards the forward 50. Heppel can't get to it. Cameron threw that away almost. Gives it off to Bailey. Pretty sloppy in the first half. Zach Bailey goes to the top of the goals. Where did Joe Danaher? Can't bring it down on the ground. Baldwin does nicely. Gives off to Redmond. They got a bit of time here, the Bombers. Nice little kick out there and finds Setterfield. So Setterfield goes in short, finds Hobbs. Those two are probably one of the better players for the Bombers in the first half. So Hobbs has the football. Oh, great smother there from Coleman. Didn't get off the mark quick enough. Didn't get off the mark far enough there. Hobbs kicked it into Coleman to be a ball in just outside the forward 50 here for the Lions. They've had 6 inside 50s already in this quarter, the Lions, and Essendon are yet to register one. Well, we do know the Bombers didn't need much in this game so far to stay in it. Knocked down nicely from McInerney. Neal gets off the handball just. Coming through is Ashcroft. Keeps his feet, drops the ball though. Eventually called play on Bailey. Gets out the handball to McCarthy, but now the Bombers get the football. And they clear it long through Setterfield. Long kick. Wiedemann can't bring it down. Does nicely there. Stringer knocks it off to Langford. He wheels around. He's got heaps of space here, Kyle Langford. He drives it inside the forward 50. It's a great kick to Menzie. But a great spoil coming back there was Connor McKenna. It knocks it out of bounds. Great, desperate defending there from Brisbane. Connor McKenna does brilliantly. It'll be a forward stoppage cheer for the Bombers. So it looks like Alan Davies currently getting ready to come on the ground. So there could be something a little bit more serious here for Dylan Shield. Draper in the ruck can't bring it down. Coming through nicely there was Berry. Good tackle from Menzie on him. It'll be a ball up. So another stoppage. Draper's been a bit quiet in this game. I think he needs to get into it a little bit. Always brings a spark to the game when he's involved. He just grabs a hold of McInerney's arm. Doesn't get the free kick though. Dunkley gives off the handball to Neal. Back to Dunkley. If he's clean there away. Does nicely to Berry. Berry's poor handball. Turns it over. Hobbs gives it off to Setterfield. He kicks it inside the forward 52. A pack of players, but Payne out the back takes the mark. Now Brisbane can go. They switch the players. A long kick to a one-on-one. Charlie Cameron does nicely. Keeps it on the ground. Now does a little couple of dance steps backwards, then sideways. Eventually finds the kick nicely. Finds Coleman. So Coleman goes in short. Good kick. He finds Ashcroft. Been very good in this game so far. Gives off the handball. And now Brisbane go with some run. Lester in short to Rayner. He's got Lester again. Decides not to give it. So Rayner on the true centre wing on the outer side. Gives off the handball to Coleman. Coleman now has the football. Goes long inside the 450 to Joe. He can't bring it down. Out the back was Hugh McGluggage. Snaps towards goal and he just misses. So back to 3 points. So Mason Redmond will take the kick in here for the Bombers. Third quarter has just started in the other game. Currently the Bulldogs lead it by 18. Redmond goes in short. He finds Heppel. So Heppel now wheels around onto the left boot. Kicks it long down the wing to a pack of players. Andrews fists it from behind. Coming through there was Martin. Couldn't bring it with him. Now Neal gives off the handball to Andrews. Was trying to give it to Coleman, but Coleman was stumbling on the ground. So Andrews eventually goes forward with a great kick to McCarthy. And McCarthy goes in short and finds Zach Bailey. Great play there from the Lions. They're just showing a little bit more quality in this third term. And despite only this 3-point margin, the Lions have definitely dominated the past 2 quarters. Zach Bailey only the 5 touches tonight, but he's also had the 5 tackles. He's been pretty sloppy at times, though, Zach Bailey. He's been a lot more cleaner in this third term. Always been a quality player, Zach Bailey. A chance now to give Brisbane a 9-point lead. In the left forward pocket, Zach Bailey comes in, kicks towards goal, comes back very nicely. Zach Bailey, true quality, kicks the goal. Good finish there for the Lions. 9.5 minutes into this third term. Lead it by 9 points at the moment. Just over 14 minutes to go in this third quarter. So heaps of time to go. But the Brisbane showing a little bit more quality in this third term at the moment. Joey Danaher's probably been best player on ground right now with Dane Zorko, Will Ashcroft. And on the Bombers side, we have Ben Hobbs, Will Setterfield, and Zach Merritt probably being the best players for the Bombers. But now this will be showing some true character of the Bombers. Can they still stay with the Lions here? There's been times this season where they've been with teams for two quarters or so, but then fade away and give as a young side may do, just give an opposition side just too much of the footy, too much score. But Essendon, if they want to win this game, they're going to have to stay strong here. Back in the ruck. Phillips knocks it down. Setterfield comes through nicely. He's tackled. Dropped the football. Probably should have been rewarded there, Brisbane. But eventually, Essendon will get away. Merritt gives it out to Durham. He goes long with the kick. It's a poor one. Wilmot cuts it off. He'll get the free kick. So play on to the call. Darcy Wilmot on the broadcast side wing. Comes back inside. Good kick. Finds Zorko. Zorko goes in short. He finds Dunkley, I believe. In fact, it's McKenna. So McKenna with the ball. Just outside the centre square right now, Connor McKenna. Runs on the AFL logo. Kicks it down towards the top of the 50. It's a poor kick, though. And a great cut-off mark there from Mason Redmond. It's been brilliant this year, Mason Redmond. Goes in short with that 10-metre kick. Was paid by the umpire to McGrath. He's been pretty good tonight, Andy McGrath on Charlie Cameron. Still yet to get one, Charlie. Great kick. Finds Perkins. So Archie Perkins. Just on the defensive side of the wing here for the Bombers. Eventually wheels around on the right boot. Goes long towards the top of the 50. Andrews comes across, fists it when he probably should have marked it. Dunkley gets the football. Ashcroft gives off the handball. Eventually gets to Andrews, and now the Lions go through Sharp. Sharp kicks it down the wing with a nice option. Finds Gunston. So now Gunston wheels around on the right boot. Goes towards the pocket. Redmond again with a nice cut-off mark. Great interception. And he's done nicely in this third term, Redmond. Goes in short, he finds Perkins. And now the Bombers want to go out wide. It's a dangerous kick. But Baldwin does very nicely. Takes the mark. Immediately goes, but then a cut-off mark there from Coleman. And now Brisbane come on the outer side. Now Dunkley over the top to Danaher. Danaher has heaps of time. Little cutting kick. And it's a great option. He finds Hugh McGogic. And a chance now to give Brisbane a 15-point lead here, Hugh McGogic. Great play there from the Lions. Joe Danaher, vying for the 3 votes tonight, does brilliantly there. Great kick there from Joe coming forward. It's unfortunate there for the Bombers. They were away, but it was a poor kick coming out there from Baldwin. And now Brisbane a chance to give it out to 15 points. Hugh McGogic comes in, kicks towards goal. He's hooked it. Goes through for another behind. So Brisbane just keeping Essendon alive in this one. They just can't convert in front of goal tonight. So now McGrath, long kick. Can't take the mark there, Draper. Great fist forward there from Andrews. McGogic to Zorko. Back to Lachie Neale. The quality of Lachie Neale. Kicks towards goal. It's a poor kick, though. And Charlie Cameron drops it. But Charlie will get the free kick. Oh, no, Zoe Thatcher will. So it'll be a free kick to Zerk Thatcher. So Zerk Thatcher in the defensive pocket. Goes long down the wing to a pack of players. Up goes Durham. Great mark. Goal Essendon from Darry. They're doing okay at the moment. Poor kick, though, out of there. Hipwood comes forward. Can't gather it. Eventually gets at the handball. Great pressure from the Bombers. Desperate defending. Zorko can't get rid of it. Just sockers it out of there. Sharp can't gather it. Nice little tap out there from Zorko to Neale. He wheels around on the left. Booty. Eric Hipwood snaps towards goal. Enters into the defensive pocket. And Joe Danaher just gives away a silly free kick. Kane Baldwin will get the ball here for the Bombers. So the Bombers are absolutely under siege at the moment. They are holding strong, but how long can this damn wall hold up? They're at 13 inside 50s at the moment, the Brisbane Lions in this third quarter, to the Bombers just one. Baldwin kicks it down the wing. Great mark, almost there from Wiedemann. Probably should have taken it in the end. Does nicely there. Tip and Woody handles it inside to Setterfield. He's got space, but doesn't have many options. So he just kicks it high towards the forward 50. But it's a poor option, and Leicester cuts it off. So Leicester now goes back, finds Harris Andrews. Andrews decides to go for a dangerous kick in the middle of the ground. Tip and Woody comes back with a flight, does pretty well, but Dunkley does nicely. Not with the handball though. Menzies cuts it off, gives it off to Langford. Langford gets a good tackle on Leicester, but does very nicely, and then finds Andrews, and eventually they get it out wide to Coleman. So Brisbane had the football now, the Toyota logo on the defensive 50. Goes to switching the play now, out wide to Leicester. So Leicester, they're still in their defensive 50 here, Brisbane. But eventually they get out of there. He goes long down the wing, and somehow McCluggage finds himself on his own on the wing. He turns around, goes in short. Nice kick, finds Charlie Cameron. He's got a nice little handball option in McCluggage. He kept going. So now McCluggage has a few options. He decides to go to the top of the goal square. 1-on-1 is McInerney. Great mark! Great mark from the Big O. And a chance now to give Brisbane a 16-point lead. Brad Scott not happy. Not much he could have really done there, Andrew Phillips. He just had a great kick to him there. McInerney, he did enough with the body. So it's a good take. And now Oscar McInerney, usually a pretty good kick at goal. He shouldn't have too many problems here. He's only about 15 metres out straight with a bit of an angle, but he shouldn't have too many problems. Oscar McInerney comes in to kick Brisbane to a 16-point lead. He does. Good finish there for the Lions. 16-point lead. So Brisbane have bursted in this third quarter. They're doing brilliantly there. Led by their captain, ex-captain and Dane Zorko and Joe Danaher. They're doing brilliantly here, the Lions. Currently in the other game, how much is the score right now? The Bulldogs lead by 25 points over the Blues. Blues just got one back there. Their second goal of the game. So that's really poor. Not going to lie, for them. Lions have dominated this third term. And like they did in the second term, they did dominate, but they couldn't score. This time, they've kicked 3 goals in this third quarter, and they're doing brilliantly here, the Bombers. The Lions, fucking hell. So back in the ruck now. Joe Danaher's gone in the middle now. Draper just takes it out of the ruck. Tries to break the tackle at Joey Danaher, but Danaher tackles him brilliantly. It'll be a free kick. But Danaher will get the free kick, holding the ball. Draper tried to get a little bit of spark into this game, but he just couldn't break away. Danaher takes the ball. In short, finds McKenna. So McKenna takes the mark. About 70 out from goal. Wheels out on the right boot. Kicks towards the top of the goal square. 1-on-1 is Hipwood. Can't bring it down, though. He probably should have taken the mark. Got 2 hands to it. And then Merritt just runs it out of bounds. Pretty deliberately. Got a little bit lucky there, Zach Merritt. Sorry, Andy McGrath. Fucking hell. Brisbane have had 47 inside forward 50s this game to 25. 15 in this third quarter to Essendon's 2. Essendon are holding on just. In the ruck, McCluggage tries to grab the football. Can't gather it. Gets out the back. Come through is Harry Sharp. All on his own. Snaps towards goal. Gets it smothered. Now Rayner snaps towards goal. And another miss to the Lions. And that's missed everything. They're dominating at the moment, the Lions. To be honest, they should be way further in front right now. So, Nick Hine in the defensive 50. Defensive pocket. As to the football, goes long down the wing. It's really the only option the Bombers have at the moment. Up goes Wiedemann, can't bring it down. Starskovic breaks 1-2 tackles. Kicks it inside the forward 50. In front is Hipwood! And the Bombers just slowly unravelling right now. So, Eric Hipwood takes the mark. And a chance now to give them their biggest lead of the game. A 22-point lead if they can get this one here, the Lions. So Eric Hipwood has had the 10 touches, only kicked the behind so far tonight. It's been the Joe Danaher show so far, but Hipwood, if he can get involved, they should be able to get away from the Bombers here. So now Eric Hipwood comes in on goal, about a 40-metre kick here. Comes in, kicks towards goal, holds a straight line, and the Brisbane Lions are charging away right now. They've kicked 5 straight goals in this third term, the Lions. The Bombers just can't keep with him at the moment. The Brisbane Lions just showing a little bit more quality, a little bit more toughness over the football, and Essendon just can't stay with them. So Eric Hipwood kicks his first of the night. Back in the ruck. McInerney and Draper. Draper thumps it forward, but a little hold there on Neil from Stringer, and Neil will get the free kick. So Neil goes in short, nice kick, finds Zorko. He's been brilliant tonight, Dane Zorko. Plays on immediately. Goes inside the forward 50 to the top of the goal square. Hipwood gathers it nicely, but gets tackled by 2 Bombers and we ball up. So back in the ruck now. Hipwood tries to take it out. Draper can't get there. Setterfield, good tackle there on Ashcroft to be a ball up again. So back in the ruck once again. Draper knocks it down. Ashcroft comes through. Gets tackled well there from Zach Merritt. Another stoppage here. Just over 6.5 minutes in this third quarter. Brisbane have absolutely dominated this third term. Hipwood gets pushed out of there by Draper. Can't get rid of the kick though. Good smother there from Ashcroft. In the scramble. No one can get it out of there. Berry gets the ball scrambled through. Still scrambling around in there. Eventually gets out to Hine. Good tackle there from Lachie Neale. Be another stoppage. Moved about 20 metres away from the Brisbane goal, but not really much doing. So back in the ruck once again. Hipwood comes through, can't gather it. Rayner very tough, kicks it towards the top of the goal square. Coming through is Charlie Cameron, revving around and can't miss it from there by that far, but eventually he's missed everything. Should have kicked that one there, Charlie's. Missed a couple of easy opportunities tonight. He missed one very early in the game from 20 metres out straight in front. Hooked it to the right and missed. And that one, he probably should have kicked that one too. Good pressure though in the end from McGrath causes the point. It causes the miss. And coming nicely out of there was Harris Andrews. Takes a great mark. Causes the intercept mark. Eventually wheels around the right boot. Kicks again to the top of the goal square. Packer plays up goes Gunston. Can't gather it down. McCarthy just struggling to gather it. And D'Ambrosio just dives to the try line and takes it out of bounds. So just under 6 minutes to go in this third term. Brisbane are absolutely dominated. They lead it by 22 points. They're not out of this, the Bombers. They're still in this game, but they have to stay with them a little bit before three-quarter time. Draper takes it out of the ruck. A kick touched somehow. Zerk Thatcher gets the handball out. Nice play there from Stringer. The great steal there from McKenna. Jams it on the boot. Kicks it towards the top of the goal square. It floats in the air. Up goes Charlie. It bounces, and it rolls through for a point. So another behind the Lions. They still keep the Bombers in touch. So now the Bombers break forward. Durham, if he gathers it, he's away. He gets off the handball just to Tip and Woody. Tip and Woody does very nicely with the feet, but a great pressure there from Starskovich causes the turnover for the Lions. He drives it forward to a one-on-one, but Redmond too quick for Gunston. Gathers the football, goes in short, finds Durham. Durham just telling his players to calm down, but Redmond kept going. He wants to keep on going here. Takes the mark in short on the wing. Goes inside. That's a poor kick in the end of Merritt. Really poor kick. And they cause the turnover the Lions. And Lachie Neale gives it back to Starskovich. He keeps it in somehow, Brendan Starskovich. Kicks it down the wing. Gets a little roller. Gunston gathers it. Gives off to Sharp. Sharp. He rolls it down the wing as well. And the Lions, just by jamming it forward, they get about 50 metres on the play. Great play from the Lions. Bombers led by 10 points at half time, but now they find themselves right on the back foot. Back in the ruck. McInerney knocks it down. Shield does nicely, gets off the handball. Great tackle there from Perkins on Coleman. And it'll be another ball up. 23-point lead to the Lions at the moment. 4.5 minutes to go. Umpire throws it up again. McInerney just thumps it forward, but only as far as Merritt, who immediately puts it on the boot. High ball on the wing. Wilmot will get the free kick. So Wilmot gets the free kick on the wing. A little bit unlucky here against Hobbs. Probably was just a free kick, but not much in it. He goes back short, finds Andrews. Andrews now has the football. Defensive side of the centre. He goes in short. He finds Ashcroft, who's been brilliant tonight. Ashcroft goes back, finds Payne. So Brisbane just playing a little bit slowly at the moment. They'd be happy to take a 23-point lead. Obviously love more. Goes out wide. Good kick. Finds McCluggage. So Brisbane on the outer wing at the moment. Looks like they're just going to play some real slow footy. Back to Payne. 3 minutes, 40 seconds. Brisbane lead it by 23. In the other... Oh, it's a terrible kick. Payne absolutely messed it up on Andrews. Now coming back with it is Wiedemann. Gets out the handball. Great pressure there from Andrews. And the Brisbane Lions live to see another day. Payne gets the football. Kicks it out wide. Finds Harry Sharp. So Bulldogs currently lead by 18 points over the Carlton in the other game right now. God, that was always a terrible mistake there from the Lions. Long kick from Sharp. Great mark from Gunston on the wing. Be very quiet tonight, Jack Gunston, but a good mark there. So Gunston has the football on the wing. Just feigns the kick. Gets past Draper on the mark. Eventually drives it towards the forward 50. Eric Hippwood on his own. Probably should get the free kick there. Play on's the call. Heppel gives it back to Hind. Hind eventually gets the kick on the left boot. It's a great kick in the end, and he finds Perkins. That should almost be 50 against Zorko. Eventually gets off the kick. Nice kick. Finds Stringer. He's got it in shorty at Hobbs. He should go. But Stringer decides to hold it up. The Bombers maybe just wanting to hold this deficit to three-quarter time. They don't want to concede anymore. Stringer goes with a short kick. Eventually finds Hobbs. Probably 20 seconds too late, but eventually finds him. Hobbs feints the handball to Setterfield. Sets it up inside the forward 50. And a great mark from Nick Martin. Plays on. Goes to Kyle Langford. And this man is going to keep the Bombers in the game. Kyle Langford gets another. And the Bombers back to within 17 points. One of the most underrated players in the game, Kyle Langford. And he kicks a brilliant goal there. So they break a run of 5 goals there, the Bombers, and they get one there. Back to 17 points. Really out of nothing there, the Bombers. They just got it forward probably a little bit too easily, to be honest. Brisbane weren't that good in defensive transition there. And, I mean, they had there's a 2-on-1 inside the goal square for the Bombers, which is why they were able to bring it forward. But just an easy goal there for Kyle Langford. Gets them back to within 17 points. Big goal there for the Bombers. Back to 17 points. Just over 2 minutes to go in the third term. Back in the ruck. McInerney knocks it down. Only as far as Shield. The Bombers should get the clearance, but it's a poor handball. Horses the turnover. Berry gets it back to McCluggage. Back to Dunkley. And now he drives it forward to the top of the 50 in a one-on-one. Great play from Redmond. Nice little spore from behind from Gunston, but Redmond gets back onto it. Gives it to Heppel. Out wide to Durham. Now they can work it through with hands here, the Bombers, but it's a poor handball to Baldwin. Eventually gets back onto it with a great tackle there, Baldwin. And now it's still bumbling around in there. Rayner gives off the handball to Ashcroft. Back out wide, Neal. Off to Bailey. Can he show some quality with a great kick inside the forward 50? And finds Eric Hipwood. That's a brilliant kick from Zach Bailey. Low and hard. And not much a defender can do there. Finds Eric Hipwood on the lead. Great kick in the end. That's a brilliant kick. Zach Bailey was pretty sloppy in that first half, but in this second half, he's been brilliant. In this third quarter, sorry. But Eric Hipwood now to kick his second goal of the third term. Give Brisbane back that 23-point buffer. He comes in towards goal. Not much of an angle to speak of. Kicks towards goal. It's holding that right goal post, and he's hooked it through for a behind. That's a poor kick from Eric Hipwood. They've left a few out there, the Bombers tonight, the Lions tonight. And Essendon could definitely find a spark in this last quarter. They got some spark players like Stringer, like Draper. They've got some players. Heppel goes inside, finds Redmond. Only 40 seconds to go on this third term. Essendon, I think, would be happy to hold an 18-point deficit. He goes inside, a bit of a dangerous kick, but finds Merritt. So Merritt has the football. True centre half back. He gives off the handball to a running Mason Redmond. Maybe they want another one here, the Bombers. Great little kick. Gives off the 1-2 Redmond, but he gets tackled. Eventually gives off the handball to Hobbs. He kicks it inside the forward 50 with a great looking kick. Oh, he dropped the Mark Menzie. And it rolls out of bounds inside the forward 50 of the Bombers. Oh, in fact, it was Stringer. That's a terrible drop mark from Jake Stringer. No, I think it was Menzie in the end. It was Menzie. Sorry, the camera just panned to Stringer. They're back in the ruck now. They've got one more chance in the Bombers in this third quarter. Phillips knocks it down. Coming through nicely there was Perkins. Can't gather it. Menzie. He's at the handball to Jake Stringer. Gives off the handball though. In at Durham. Jams it on the boot. Can't get a kick away. 4 seconds tick down. Wiedemann gives it off to... And now he has a chance. Sam Wiedemann. Oh, he's just missed. And he's missed. That was a big chance there for the Bombers late. He just couldn't get an angle onto it to bring it home. But at three-quarter time, the Lions lead by 17 points. At three-quarter time, the scores are 7-11, 53 to 5-6, 36. Brisbane lead it by 17 points. Alright, just bring up statistics now, guys. Got a few Bombers supporters watching this stream tonight. It's good to see. Been very good this year, the Bombers. I think they're definitely the surprise, probably the biggest, second biggest surprise packet of the year with St Kilda. Alright, guys, so at three-quarter time, the best disposals on the ground. We have Mason Redmond with the 26, Lockie Neal with the 23, Dunkley 21 along with Ashcroft, and then taking out the top 5 is Zach Merritt with the 19, and then the best fantasy scorers out there, we have Redmond with the 92, Zorko 87, Danaher 85, Ashcroft 80, and then taking out the top 5 is Josh Dunkley. Big game so far. If I had to pick the 3 votes right now, I'd probably go with... I'd probably go at the moment, I think Joe Danaher with the 3, Zorko with the 2, and I'd probably go with Ashcroft for the 1 at the moment. But if Essendon can come back, I think they're going to just have to get the ball in the middle. I think Zach Merritt's just going to have to lift again. I think he's been one of their best players tonight, but I just think they have to go around him. I think Ben Hobbs has to play some good footy in this last quarter. I think Will Setterfield has to start getting a little bit more ball in this last quarter as well. They're currently in the other game as well, guys. What is the score? Bulldogs lead by 13 points over the Carlton, 45-32 at the moment.
I'm back. Oh, Christ, my back is sore. Don't think you guys really give a shit though, so I'll shut my mouth. But yeah, 3/4 time, guys. Brisbane lead it by the 17 points. They kicked 5 goals in a row in that third quarter, but then Essendon got one late just to bring it back to 17 points. And Essendon have had these sort of quarters in last week as well against Port Adelaide. They had a poor third quarter. They had a poor third quarter there. They still are in this game of footy, I believe, but they need to start moving. They need to start winning it in the middle of the ground. And because Brisbane's defence just can't handle being constantly dominated, constantly getting the football inside their forward 50. Is that a bug on my side or their side? Is that on my camera? I think it's on my side. Fucking hell. I see a bug. I thought it was on the TV camera, but I think it's on me. So Brisbane dominated that third term. They are in front by 17 points, but they've had so many opportunities in this game to just take it away from the Bombers, but they've missed some easy opportunities. So 17 points the difference. Big opportunity, not just for Essendon, but for their just their young players in general. Looks like Alan Davey has come onto the field now for the Bombers, so trying to give a little bit more spark inside the forward 50. They have to get it in there though, the Bombers, because they've just been absolutely dominating that third term, and they just can't get it forward. But Brisbane have absolutely creamed them in the middle of the ground. So back in the middle of the ground, last quarter. D'Ambrosio has came off for Alan Davey as the sub. So that has been the sub made. But Essendon will get the first clearance. Caldwell gives it off to Shield. Stringer gives it off to Perkins. Perkins has some space. A chance to give Essendon the first goal of the last quarter. It goes towards goal and he's kicked it. Oh, it's been touched. Well, why are they reviewing it? If an umpire in the middle of the ground called touch, it's got to be touched then. So they're checking to see if this was touched off the boot. Perkins kicked towards goal. Coming across there was McKenna with a brilliant touch onto it. Causes a behind. So the first score of the last quarter will be a point to the Bombers. But that was very good to see the Bombers just breaking forward and almost getting the first goal of the last quarter. Almost got that one. So Connor McKenna in the defensive goal square will have the football. Runs out and kicks it long. Down towards out towards the outer wing. Long kick. Great mark there from Dyson Heppel. Ex-captain, but still a big leader of this club. Great mark on the wing, Dyson Heppel. Takes the mark. Eventually drives it back inside the forward 50. A long kick. Up goes Sammy Draper. Can't bring it down. Wilmot gives that the handball wide to Coleman. Back again, and now Andrews just thumps it out of the defensive 50, but it's ill-directed. Somehow, Neil almost took the mark there. Nice little handball back to Zorko, and Zorko goes long down the wing, but it's only as far as Dyson Heppel. Goes back inside, finds Zerk Thatcher. Zerk Thatcher has the football. In short, finds Merritt. Good. Oh, great spoil there from Dunkley. Merritt still gets onto the football, though, has time. Gives it to Hind. He runs into a roadblock named Zach Bailey, and that's holding the ball. Great play there from Zach Bailey. And he's given away 50 in Nick Hind. That was poor. Nick Hind has given away a 50-metre penalty. So a chance now after the Bombers started off this last quarter pretty brightly. A chance for Zach Bailey to send it out to a 22-point lead.
Zach Bailey had a brilliant week last week, and he's had a brilliant second half. A chance now to send it to a 22-point lead early in the last quarter. Zach Bailey comes in. Kicks towards goal. Looks pretty nice. Zach Bailey. First goal of the last quarter. Great finish. Ooh, yeah. This is... Hey, baby. Ooh, I wanna know. Actually, I better not sing that. I wonder if that stream would actually get copyright strike for that. So, 3/4 time in the other game, the Bulldogs lead by 8 points, 6-10-46 to the Carlton 5-8-38. So, it looks like Bulldogs have left some chances out there in that one. Great finish from Zach Bailey. He knew he got it straight off the boot. And a great start for Brisbane in this last quarter. Up in the bounce now. McInerney, nice little tap back. Gives it to Zorko. Now Neal gets away. Just got the ball to boot. And then McInerney will get a high free kick. McInerney plays on. Just gets the kick away. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Pack of players go up. Out the back. Zerk Thatcher with a big spoil. But Charlie Cameron will get back first. And just can't get boot to ball. So it'll be a ball in. Been brilliant tonight, Andy McGrath on Charlie Cameron. Being one of the Bombers' best. So in the forward pocket, if the Lions, one more goal may actually kill this game right off early in the last quarter. The Bombers have to be strong here. Back in the ruck. Danaher just pushes Draper out of it. Gets the ball onto the boot. And Joey Danaher kicks his 5th goal. Great finish from Big Joe. He's had a brilliant night against his old side. And it's out to a game-high 28-point lead to the Lions. Had a brilliant night, Joe Danaher. Been best on ground, in my opinion. 5 goals in a game of footy probably gives you best on ground honours most weeks. And nothing's changed tonight. Draper, I think, was pushed out of that, to be honest. But umpire didn't call it. And Joe Danaher gets his 5th. He's hit 5 of their 9 goals tonight, Joe Danaher. So back in the ruck now. Draper comes through. Nice little tap down to Caldwell. Gives it to Setterfield. Setterfield will get the clearance towards the top of the 50 in a 1-on-1. But it's a great mark there from Darcy Wilmot. Down on the ground right now is Oscar McInerney. He doesn't look too good, to be honest. So he's struggling a little bit at the moment. He goes out wide though now. Wilmot finds Sharp. Sharp has the football. Goes long down the wing, but it's too wide. It goes out in the full. So McInerney's still down on the ground right now. Be interesting to see what happened here. So, looks like he got a punch to the rib there. So it looks like he's in some real trouble here at the moment, Oscar McInerney. That could actually be big news right now. Back on the outer wing at the moment, though. Baldwin gives it off to Nick Hine. He goes for a run. Then he goes to ground and he's gone. That's so sad. That's unlucky. That is so unlucky. Nick Hine goes down and it's holding the ball. So Lachie Neale will get the free kick. Gives it off to Ashcroft. He kicks it inside the forward 50. Great mark back with the flight with Zerk Thatcher. He gives it off. Nice little kick. He finds Caldwell. No, in fact, it's Perkins. He's got Caldwell in the middle of the ground, actually. Good kick. Nice little option. That centre-half back position. Caldwell goes out wide to Dyson Heppel, who works back nicely. Heppel has the football. Goes inside. Good kick. He finds Alan Davey. First touch since coming on as the sub. Gives in the handball to Mason Redmond. Being one of the Bombers' best. He goes to the top of the 50. Good kick. He finds Perkins, who worked hard towards the top of the 50. Doesn't have many options, though. No one's really leading at him. They're all calling for it on their heads. So he drives it towards the top of the 50. He gives him the option. Wiedemann can't bring it down. Stringer can't get his foot to the football. Zach Merritt snaps around goal. Gets it smothered. Coming up there nicely with Andrews. Gives off to Sharp. Sharp dropped that. Almost hurt. And then Menzies held him on for too long. It'll be a free kick to the Lions. Lions leading it by 28 points at the moment. The Bombers have been dominated in the second half. So Harry Sharp will get the free kick in the back pocket here for the Brisbane Lions. So Harry Sharp goes long towards the wing again. He's kicked it too wide. It's gone on the full. So he's made 2 poor kicks there, Harry Sharp, in the last few minutes. He's kicked 2 on the full. So it will be a free kick to Caldwell on the wing. But 80 out from goal. Jai Caldwell has the football. Drives it long to a pack of players. Wiedemann almost held it out of it. Owen Davey dreams the ball on his boot, and he just kicks it through for a point. So Darcy Wilmot will take the ball from the kick in. Runs out towards the right defensive pocket and goes long on the outer wing to a one-on-one. Gunston being pretty quiet tonight. Great spoil from Zerk Thatcher. Menzies tries to keep it in, but Coleman cuts it off. Jams it on the left boot. Kicks it towards the wing. It's a great kick in the end. Somehow got to McInerney. And now the Brisbane Lions want to put a dagger through the heart. Lachie Neale runs towards the top of the goal square. It's a great kick to Charlie Cameron. It's gone too far again, though. Been a little bit unlucky in this last quarter, Charlie Cameron. He's been at the back a couple of times, but the kicks have just been too heavy, and it goes out of bounds. So inside the forward 50 for the Brisbane Lions. They want to put a dagger through the Bombers and end them now. Still 15 minutes to go in this last quarter, so the Bombers still have time, but they have to hold strong here. Back in the ruck. Joe Danaher goes up early, brings it down. Lincoln McCarthy gets the ball out just. Perkins, pretty good tackle on him, to be honest. Dunkley comes through, tackled by 2 Bombers, be another ball up. 15 minutes to go in this last quarter. It was last quarter has just started in the other game, by the way. Bulldogs out by 8 points over the Blues. Back in the ruck, Draper knocks it down, can't get rid of it. Rayner gets tackled well by Heppel, another ball up. 27-point lead to the Brisbane Lions at the moment. Back in the ruck, Draper knocks it down. Coming through strong there was Dunkley, can't get rid of it though. Now Caldwell gets tackled well there by 2 Lions, another stoppage. Wouldn't be long before an umpire makes a stupid decision here to try and clear the play. Wouldn't be too surprised if that. Draper knocks it down to the defensive side. Ashcroft breaks through, gives off the handball. Berry, one more player in there free. Zorko, little check side kick to the top of the goal square, but McGrath cuts it off. Zerk Thatcher gives it back to Heppel. Always cool in any situation. And then almost kicked it through for a point there, Dyson Heppel. But cut off there from, taken just on the line there was Nick Hind. He's had some almost moments tonight, Nick Hind. He's always been on the perimeter of this Essendon 22. McGrath has the football, goes down the wing. It's actually a pretty good kick. Hobbs just couldn't get there. And it's out of bounds. So it'll be out of bounds just on the outer wing here. Essendon had a 10-point lead at halftime, and that was diminished really quickly by Brisbane in the third quarter. But they have been dominating really since the early few minutes of this game, really, Brisbane. The Bombers started this game pretty well, but other than that, Brisbane have absolutely dominated. Back in the ruck, Phillips knocks it down, only as far as Zorko, and then Lachie Neale accidentally soccers it out of bounds. So McInerney and Phillips in the ruck. McInerney knocks it down. Been brilliant tonight. Setterfield overruns it. Eventually gets back onto it, though. Ashcroft puts a lot of pressure on. Now the Brisbane Lions get it out. Over the top to McKenna. And now McKenna kicks it wide. Too wide. Oh, God! Mason Redmond just went in like a steam train. Jesus! And Mason Redmond's taking a minute to get up. And that's definitely fair enough. Mason Redmond just came out of nowhere to try and take that mark when it was going out of bounds on the full. I don't know what he was thinking. He hurt his wrist there, I think, Mason Redmond, but he's okay. Jeez. That was courage. But McGrath and eventually takes the free kick for the out of the full and goes back in the defensive 50 to McGrath trying to switch the play of the Bombers. He goes long down the wing. Great play there from Hobbs. Bodied his opponent under it. Takes the mark on the wing. They're moving a lot. They're moving too slow at the moment, the Bombers. They have to move this ball forward quickly. In short finds Setterfield. It's been okay tonight, Will Setterfield. He needed to lift from the last few weeks. He's been pretty poor. Setterfield has the football. Goes in short finds Zach Merritt. Zach Merritt does nicely. Just breaks off the man on the mark and kicks it with a weird-looking kick. That was almost a free kick against Wilmot, but it gets it away. Lester, Rayner. And now the Brisbane Lions can go through Ashcroft. Sharp, great handball there from Brisbane. Great play. And now over the top, they've got a free man. Leicester, great kick to Gunston. Gunston plays on immediately. In the pocket is Charlie Cameron. Great play there from the Lions. And Charlie Cameron looks inside, but I don't think he's looking to pass. Charlie Cameron, been quiet tonight. Andy McGrath's been brilliant. But a chance now for Charlie to put this game to bed. You'd back him from here, Charlie. He's been pretty quiet tonight, but he's had a good year. Charlie Cameron around the body on the right boot. He snaps towards goal. Actually hasn't made the distance, and it's a behind. So they just give Brisbane a bit of a chance. They just give Essendon a bit of a chance in the Lions. Just couldn't get enough airtime on that ball there, Charlie. So Mason Redmond will take the kick in here for all of the Bombers. He goes long down the middle. It's about time they start doing that now. Long kick. Good attempt there from Perkins. Now over the top. Hobbs gives off to Setterfield. Setterfield drives it inside the forward 50. At the back is Martin. If he gets on the ball, there a chance. Oh, poor bounce, unfortunately, there from Martin. Gets onto it. Tip and Woody. He has some time. Great tackle from McKenna. Tipper gives it away. That's holding the ball. Great pressure from McKenna. That was unlucky there for Nick Martin. He had it out the back, but he just got a poor bounce. Unfortunate thing with the oval football, just didn't get the right bounce, and the Brisbane Lions survive. Ashcroft in the back 50 takes the mark. This will be his 25th touch of the game. He goes back, finds Harris Andrews. He goes in short, he finds Zorko. So the Lions just trying to take the sting out of this game of footy. He goes out wide to Ryan Leicester, been pretty good tonight, Leicester. He's got another option on the wing. It's a good kick. He finds Harry Sharp, who's been good as well tonight. So Sharp goes long down the wing to a one-on-one. Weirdly, Phillips. What? So, yeah, Phillips kicked it out of midair. I don't know what he was thinking, but he kicked it straight into Dunkley, and it was out of bounds. So, but the boundary umpire called on the full for some reason. But anyway. It is a throw-in just outside the forward 50 if the Lions. 28-point lead at the moment. So back in the ruck. Phillips knocks it down. Coming through nicely there was McCluggage. And there's a little bit of a biffo here. McInerney and Phillips pushing each other a little bit in the chest, but nothing doing. Back in the ruck again. Phillips taken out of the ruck there by McInerney. Kicks inside the forward 50 to Joe Danaher. Can't gather it. Little soccer off the ground, not 15. McCluggage play onto the call. Kicks it inside the forward 50, but Martin cuts it off. And it looks like Essendon want to go. Kicks across the ground. Good kick finds Durham. So Durham kicked it. He's got Durham in the pocket here, but he just had no option. That Durham goes over the top. It's a poor kick. It's a turnover. Charlie Cameron takes the mark. So Charlie Cameron, he's missed a couple tonight. This is a chance here to put this game to bed. Only 10.5 minutes to go in this last quarter. Bombers down by 28 points. And Charlie Cameron has the set shot. Gives a little kiss on the football, which I thought was very cute. But a chance now to put this game to bed. Charlie Cameron, about a 45-degree angle. Kicks towards goal. He's kicked it out to the left. And on the line, it's fisted through for a behind. Brisbane really could have put the pressure on the Bombers here, but there's still 10 minutes to go. There's still time, but the Bombers, they're not playing as a team that I think can win this game at the moment, to be honest. 29-point lead. Nick Hine takes the kick in. Long towards the wing. Wiedemann's been quiet tonight. Fisted down nicely. Zorko goes in short. That's not 15. Ashcroft play on. Gives off the handball. Zorko sockers it out of midair. Play onto the call. Martin comes through nicely. Gives over the handball over the top. Wiedemann over the top to Caldwell. Now the Bombers can go through Setterfield. Setterfield gets the kick away nicely to Tip and Woody. He drops the mark. That was crucial. Sockers it off the ground though. Keeps it moving forward here, the Bombers. Menzie, nice little tap on. Just couldn't get it away. McCluggage over to Andrews. Andrews, little underround handball. Over the top to Wilmot. Great chase there from Menzie. McCluggage gets the kick away though. Coming through nicely was Phillips. Gets the fist out. Now Rayner coming through nicely. Puts a little bit of burst of speed on the Bombers defenders. Then gets away. Gives it back to Leicester. Leicester goes out wide. The Brisbane Lions are away through Gunston. Off to Lockie Neal. They can put a dagger finally through the hearts of the through the Bombers. Long kick from Lockie Neal. Coming back with the flight was Mason Redmond. Coming through is Hipwood. Will he give it off to Danaher for 6? Danaher! Had a brilliant night. Snaps towards goal and he's got it! Big Joe's got 6. 6 goals. Brilliant night from Joe Danaher tonight. He's been best on ground. I think I remember you from the St Kilda support game. Yeah, I remember you, man. How you doing, Roy Blocks? 35-point lead to the Lions, and they've just killed off the Bombers. Brilliant night tonight from Joe Danaher. He's got 6. He single-handedly almost won this game again. He's almost kicked more than the Bombers tonight. Great play there from Eric Hipwood. He wanted to give Joe Danaher his 6th goal. He waited for the defender to commit to Eric Hipwood and then gave him the handball. And then Joe Danaher kicks one. Carlton can make it 1 point. They are Bulldogs are currently up by 7 at the moment. So yeah, they kick one here. The Dane Zorko has been subbed out of this game. No injury to speak of. But Answorth is back in the team. Back in the ruck now. Stringer can't get rid of it. Chance here, free kick here will go to the Bombers. So Stringer will have the free kick just outside the forward 50. He's got a little bit of a run on here. It eventually kicks it over the top and he finds Nick Martin. Great mark in the pocket. So 35-point lead to the Brisbane Lions. 8.5 minutes to go. Great mark there from Nick Martin. Always kicks the goal. So it's back to a 1-point game in that other one. Bulldogs up by 1 point over Carlton. So Nick Martin in the pocket to bring it back to a 29-point lead. He kicks towards goal and hasn't even scored. He's left it way out to the right and he's kicked it on the full there, Nick Martin. He's had an okay night, Nick Martin, but that was a pretty poor kick. Short kick from McKenna goes into Coleman. So Coleman has the ball. Goes down towards the wing. It's a great kick. He finds Answorth. Just came on as the sub. You go into the Crows game tomorrow. They'll win by 2 points. I think it'll be a pretty close game against St Kilda, to be honest. It'll be a good game. So Answorth has the football. Goes long down the wing. Couple of players, one-on-one. Hipwood does well with the body. Takes the mark. And then gets tackled. Well, I mean, that's surely 50. I don't know how that wasn't 50, but anyway, Zerk Thatcher didn't give it away somehow. So Hipwood gets the mark. So he takes the mark about 80, 90 out from goal. 2 kicks away. Long kick into the pocket. It's a poor kick. Hine did nicely. Called well. Gets tackled well there by Harry Sharp. Will be a ball up. St Kilda miss on the siren, I think. That's a big call. Just over 7 minutes to go in this last quarter. Back in the ruck. Draper comes through, takes it out of the ruck and handballs it forward. To no one in particular. Neil tries to shake off Draper. Just gives it the handball. Coleman kicks it inside the forward 50. A couple of players go up and Nick Martin does nicely to work back and take the mark in the back pocket. He goes in the middle of the ground. It's actually a pretty good kick there from Martin. Finds Dylan Shield. Sarskovic probably gave away 50 there. Should have been, but anyway, it doesn't give it away. Nick gives off the handball there. Shield gives off the Heppel. Heppel goes out wide to Tip and Woody. He's been quiet. Good mark in the end there from Tip and Woody. He's got to go. He goes inside the forward 50 and it's Sammy Draper who takes the mark. The Sam Draper takes it on the 50. This will be a long kick for the big guy, but if they need some sort of spark right now, there's still 6.5 minutes. There's not much time. I don't think they can come back from here, but if anyone's to give them a spark, it's this man. Sam Draper. They've only kicked 5 goals tonight. 1 in the second half. Sam Draper will kick it outside 50. Kicks towards goal. He's left it out to the right. He's made the distance, but he's kicked it through for a point. Well, I have kicked 1 in the second half. So the Brisbane Lions will go on the outer side. Kicks it short there. Wilmot finds Andrews. Andrews kicks it inside. Good kick. Finds Zach Bailey. He's been good in the second half, Zach Bailey. 2-point lead in the other game too. The Bulldogs lead 47-45 last quarter. Bailey goes out wide. Good kick. He finds Lockie Neal. Been pretty good tonight, Lockie Neal. Been pretty quiet this year. Hasn't been averaging the numbers that he usually does, but he's been good tonight. So it goes in short there, Lockie Neal. He finds Ashcroft. That's got about 4 metres, but he'll beat the mark. So Ashcroft, this will be his 27th touch of the game. He's been brilliant tonight. As the football, Goes long down the wing to a pack of players. Coming through nicely was Mason Redmond. He's been good tonight. Probably best on ground for the Bombers with Zach Merritt. Takes a good mark there. So Redmond goes out wide. He goes to a one-on-one in Setterfield. Almost got taken high, but does nicely to take the ball and goes inside the forward 50. Absolute grubber of a kick. Somehow gets to Merritt. Off to the top to Martin. Martin kicks it to the top of the goal square. It's not the best kick. Rayner missed it. Now Menzie gives it off to Tip and Woody, and Tip and Woody kicks the goal there for the Bombers. Good goal from Tip and Woody. The Bombers really try to mess that up, but eventually they get the goal. And it's to a 28-point lead to the Brisbane Lions. So the Bombers get one back there. They almost messed that up, but they just get it through. Back to a 28-point lead. Brisbane Lions have won this game. There's only 5 minutes to go. They've been brilliant tonight, the Brisbane Lions. They've just left a couple of goals out there to not have given this more of a lead. Back in the ruck now. McInerney knocks it down. Ashcroft takes it down with like the backhand Panther play, and it'll be another ball up. No, Ashcroft will get the free kick for a high one. He goes out wide. Good kick finds McCluggage. McCluggage immediately tells a player to lead up to him. Eventually just goes long to the top of the goal square. Draper in a one-on-one. Can't take the mark. Out the back. Hipwood does nicely on Baldwin. Good tackle there from Baldwin in the end. It'll be another ball up. Oh, that was at the bench. That's why he didn't get in that one. Back in the ruck. Draper just hit. Almost hit Hipwood. Eventually gets out the handball. Now trying to thump it away was Shield. But a great little stab over the top with McCluggage. Goes through for a point. They work it out wide here, the Bombers. Hind has the football. He goes back. He finds McGrath. So the Bombers, they're trying to move it forward here, trying to get some run on the play. Nick Hind has the football, goes out wide. It's a good kick. He finds Durham. Sorry, Zerk Thatcher, in fact. Sorry, didn't realise it was him. He has a jumper on there at the moment. If you don't know, he got his jumper ripped in the second quarter and had to leave it on for 25 minutes. Ainsworth takes the mark. He played on there, but umpire gives him a reprieve. Came on as the sub Ainsworth. He takes the mark here. About 70 out from goal. Carlton just took the lead in the other game. Goes in short, great kick. He finds Zach Bailey in the forward pocket. And Zach Bailey deserves another here. He's played brilliantly in the second half. So Carlton currently by 4 points over in the other game. So Zach Bailey now, with 3 minutes to go, to kick them out to a 35-point lead. Zach Bailey hooks it to the right. It's to the left, sorry, and it just goes through for a point. So there's a 30-point lead now. So 7 minutes to go in the other game right now. I'm just bringing it up on my screen here so I can keep an eye on it for you guys. 8 minutes to go in that game. Carlton lead it by 4 points. They lead 51-47. Bulldogs have lost most of that game, but at the moment they're down. So this is for their 6th win in a row, the Brisbane Lions. They played brilliantly tonight. Back in the ruck. McInerney knocks it down. McCluggage can't gather it, but eventually gets onto it nicely. Little underground handball to Neal. Neal tries to soccer it long, but eventually just gets a little tap on. Ainsworth handballs it back to Neal. He can't get to it. Setterfield just soccers it forward. McInerney gathers it in the end. Back to McCluggage. Gives it to McKenna. McKenna drives it forward. McCarthy can't gather it. Heppel tackled well. It'll be another ball up. Liberatore just kicked the goal for the Bulldogs. Back to a 2-point game. Bulldogs lead by 2 points. Liberatore is coming off limping at the moment. So back in the ruck now. Phillips knocks it down, only as far as Ainsworth. He can't gather it though. Coming through nicely there was Caldwell. Gives it off to Hobbs. They got some players in the middle of the ground here. Essendon, Baldwin. Great smother there from Bailey. Gathers the football and now Brisbane can go forward. Rayner. Long raking handball to Lincoln McCarthy. To send it home here for the Brisbane Lions. Lincoln McCarthy nails it. Great finish there from the Lions. Lincoln McCarthy kicks the goal. Oh, the game is 2 points to the Bulldogs. Bulldogs are up by at the moment. They just kicked the goal there through Liberatore. Still 7.5 minutes to go, so there's heaps of time in that game at the moment. They're about 36 points at the moment, the Brisbane Lions. They've played brilliantly in this, especially in the second half, but in this game in general. Just a little bit outclassed the Bombers at the moment. Great mark from Charlie Curnow inside the forward 50 here for the Blues. Chance to give him back the lead. So back in the ruck now. Phillips knocks it down. Coming through the stoppage there was Stringer. Does nicely, but gets it smothered there by Lockie Neal. Martin can't gather it. Good play there from Davey. Gives it off to Caldwell. Caldwell charges towards 50. Kicks towards goal, but Payne will get on there in the last line of defence. Takes the mark. Jackson Payne takes the mark in the defensive pocket. Long goal there from Charlie Curnow gives Carlton back the lead. They lead by 4 points. Dunkley takes the mark on the wing. Great mark there for Brisbane. So, in short, finds Joe Danaher. He's been brilliant tonight on the wing. He's kicked 6 goals. Been best on ground. My screen's frozen. Awesome. So Danaher goes long down the wing. I'll go with McInerney. Great mark in the end. So McInerney has the football. He goes in short. Good kick. He finds Lockie Neal. He's been good tonight as well, Lockie Neal. Arthur Jones just kicked the goal for the Bulldogs to give them the lead back. Goal for goal at Marvel Stadium. McCluggage tries to get the handball away. Ainsworth gives it out and handballs it out of bounds. So back in the ruck now. 18 seconds to go. Phillips knocks it down. Coming through, Bailey can't gather it. Does well there, Hind. Hind gets out the kick. Does well there, Wilmot. Drives it back inside the forward 50 for the Lions. Long, great mark there from Rayner. Takes the mark, Cam Rayner. So a chance now to kick a goal to just send it out to a 42-point lead. Cam Rayner takes them up. Brilliant win from Brisbane in the end. So Cam Rayner to send it out to a 42-point win for the Lions. They've played brilliantly tonight. He's probably been a little bit quiet, but he deserves a goal. Cam Rayner kicks towards goal. Pretty good looking kick, to be honest. Cam Rayner finishes the job with a cherry on top. Great finish from Cam Rayner. Bulldogs just got a goal back. They lead by 8 points at the moment. Alright, so final scores, guys, are 12-15, 87 to the Brisbane Lions. Win the game over the Bombers, who were good in the first half, but just couldn't stay with them in the second half. And they 6-9-45, lose by 42 points. A good game in the end. Brisbane Lions were very good, and they're definitely a contender this season. But that's all for the stream tonight, guys. Thanks for watching, but I'll catch you all in the next one.